All right, guys, are we here? Are we here, guys? All right, let's see. Someone in the chat room check in because Restream did that thing to me again where I was signed on and then it signed me off and then I never connected. And it's just, and I've been sitting here for 20 minutes trying to figure this out. All right. Anybody there? We're just going to, before we get the show started. By the way, we got a full show for you today. Welcome into the Rant. These may be my first few words that I'm actually speaking. We do this every day, current events, hot topics, lifestyle stuff, everything you need to know about the world around you, and I deliver it to you in a non-political, non-partisan way, although you might take my interpretation of the world as inherently political, but I'm here to tell you it's not. I'm just being a normal fucking person. All right, so that's what we do. Hi, Pugs. All right, are we working? We're looking good? All right, I am sorry, guys. And today, I'm going to have to stay, I think, on this page because this is the second time I was recording earlier this morning, got in here real early this morning, and I started recording something. And right in the middle of the recording, Restream was like, nope, and they just stopped. And I'm like, fuck! All right, so hopefully this will work the rest of the day. Good. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about the delay. I am Pugs. This is the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios, RadioMisfits.com. We do this every day, hot topics, current events, and all that good stuff. Let's reward the podium, shall we? Shall we? We do this every day. I like to look at the chat room. We've got a lively chat room. Come one, come all. Every day I like to look at the chat room and see who wanted to be my friend first today. Who was here first? Look at this. We do it Formula One style. First, second, and third place get to come up on the podium and dump champagne over each other's head and drink from big, comically large cups. That's what we're doing right now. Who's on the podium for today's show? Oh, look at that. Lewis Hamilton is back. That's right, the Lewis Hamilton of the chat room. Tyronda, she was number one. She's on the podium. Peter, he's number two. He's on the podium. And coming on third, that's fine. He's still on the podium, and he's got himself points, and he's got himself champagne. It's Frankie B, yesterday's winner. We need to note, I think Frankie B won yesterday, right? 2 podiums in a row for Frankie. Good job, guys. All right, folks, one more time, I do need to remind you one more time, how about for the first time today? It is, of course, Pledge Week. That's where we have to shake the cup and ask you folks to support this show. We did good yesterday. Thank you so much to everybody who tipped yesterday. I hope I got all your names down there. If I don't have your names, then your tip has not been accounted for, but thank you so much. We'll get to that shortly. The big tipper of yesterday's show gets to be the executive producer of today's show. The big tipper yesterday and today's executive producer is another one of the consistent ones, the people that I count on every month. Well, I shouldn't say that. Nobody needs to walk around with that pressure. But somebody who every month tirelessly supports this show. It is Mama B. Thank you, Mama B. Thank you, Mama B. Thank you, too. And again, this is where I get into trouble because I want to start saying thank you to people. But if I forgot a name, I would feel awful. So let's not even start naming names. I got some of them down there. There you go. It's Pledge Week and the Pledge Week thing. So thank you so much to Mama B. If you want to tip the show and help us get across the finish line so that we can continue to do this kind of nonpartisan, regular working folk talk, drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. And we need to cross that finish line by Friday. So we got 2 shows. So hopefully I'll be the dancing monkey that pleases you. All right. Let me say hi to the rest of the people in the chat room. Who else do we need to say hi to? Got a question for you all. Okay, I'm going to give you the question first. I'll give you the question first, and then I'll say hi to the people in the chat room. That way, the delay, there's like a 30-second delay. That way, maybe you guys can start answering. All right, so I've been asking questions at the start of each show just to, loosen us up a little bit for the heavy dialogue that's coming. I asked on Monday, who's your favorite dog of all time? Like, famous dogs, right? Can't be Snoopy. At least that's a rule I made. Can't be Snoopy because can't be Scooby-Doo. Can't be fake dogs. Got to be a real dog. So like Rin Tin Tin and Lassie, and I think we came down on Lassie. I don't know, whatever. Second day, we asked the question, when the aliens come and we have to send one human up to represent all of us to the human or to the aliens, who are we sending, right? I started out, I was like, Pope Leo, and we're going to send him. Why? Because Pope Leo seems to be all about the Jesus brand of humanity, peace and kindness and love and acceptance and all that. And he'd probably ascend the staircase with a smile. We ain't sending Pete Hegseth. He's going to have a fucking gun in his waistband. Fucking fool. So that's what I was thinking with the Pope. But what did we settle on? We settled on the only choice. Sorry, Pope Leo. Go sit in the corner. Well, you're on deck. All right. You know what? If Dolly Parton, who we decided on, can make it up the steps, then we'll call Pope Leo. But Dolly Parton is the ambassador of humanity, right? Humanity. Oh my God, that was really Southside. Is the ambassador of the ambassador of humanity. That is an awesome Chicago word. That is a fun word to say. Chicago, we're the ambassadors of humanity. That's good. Okay. Dolly Parton. So here's the question, all right? Before I jump into the chat room and say hi to all you folks, here's the question that I want every single person in the chat room to answer. It's an easy one. It's yes or no. Today's question. Does your boss have the right to tell you that your perfume is too strong and that it's offensive and that others in the office don't like it and that you should stop wearing it? Does your boss have the right to tell you as an employee, look, hopefully in the nicest way possible, but look, does your boss have the right to go, hey, your perfume, ew, man, is it strong. It's bothering everybody else in the office. You need to stop wearing it. Does your boss in 2026 have the right to say that? All right, chat room. I want to know. Chat room, what do you think? Can your boss say that? Can a boss walk into a room where everybody's sitting at their little cubicles and go, hopefully it's one-on-one because there's a way to be a boss. But can the boss say, hey, look, the perfume thing, I'm sure you'll like it. Way too strong. It's like everywhere. People are complaining. You need to stop wearing the perfume. Can a boss do that in 2026 is the question I have for the chat room. All right. Now, here are the people I expect to answer, right? All right. Of course, I expect Rhonda and Peter and Frankie. They're on the podium. I need Jen to chime in. I need Maddie to chime in. I need Peter. I'd like to hear from Barney. There's April. Hi, Apes. Look at her. There she is. All right. Who else we got? Leslie. We got Leslie. We got Adam. Oh, Adam's going to chime in. Adam's certainly got an opinion on this. How about Kevin? Kevin, KB. There you go. Hey, wait a second. Kevin's got a point here that needs to address. Why is this show's thumbnail Diddy or didn't he? Is it really? Well, we're just going to have to deal with it. I'll fix it after the show. Oh, my God. The things that go wrong. Okay, let's see here. Adam Reyna. You're only saying that because Ty is black. Racist? Now, I think what Adam is referring to is me referring to Tyronda as Lewis Hamilton, the guy who's made more podium appearances in F1 than anyone else. Lewis Hamilton happens to be black. Adam is humorously calling me a racist. I got some news for you. I don't know that Tyronda's black. I didn't know that. I mean... there's not. She's a girl I think it's a girl. I don't know. It's a chat room. You're the racist. All you have to go on is her name, Adam. Why do you think she's black? Is she black? Is she black? Is there a picture? That changes everything. I mean, it changes nothing. But that is interesting because I'm just thinking I'm like, okay, I guess I do think that she might be a black woman. I don't know how it's racist. What they have in common is that Lewis Hamilton has made more podiums in F1, and Tyronda's always on the podium. You're the racist. You Mexicans. That is no way to defend yourself from being a racist by going, you Mexicans are racist. You Mexicans are as racist as the Irish ever were. Seriously, and you know it too. You've spent time around racist Mexican men. Nick Fuentes is Mexican. Although I don't know if he really leans into the fact that he's Mexican. So weird. The world is so weird. All right. So I asked the question, does your boss have the right to tell you that your perfume sucks and you need to start wearing something else? Oh, Maddie. Look at Maddie. Why are you being so thirsty? I got your name down there, don't I? Oh, Maddie. Yes, of course I got your donation. You don't have to. You work for the show, though. There's Maddie. There's Maddie right there. I said thank you. Thirsty ass Maddie. Yes, Maddie. Maddie always takes care of the show. She's awesome. Then thank you. And she shouldn't. I tell her, I go, I feel guilty with you. It's like I used to feel guilty with CC. CC used to tip the show, and CC and I were working together on Shock House, and I feel guilty. I mean, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, any port in a storm, but thank you very much. Also, something else that I struggle with every time, and it's because I'm selfish and I don't really think about other people all that much. I'm trying to. I think half the battle is knowing that you're not doing it and that you should do it more. But here's something I stumbled on with Maddie. I don't think I'm even spelling your name right. I mean, every day I put it up there and it's like Maddie, Matty. Is that your preferred? Because I'm like, I should ask her. Does she like Maddie? Does she like Matty? What am I doing here? I should ask. I should get it right. And she's quietly probably just put up with it's not how I spell my name since this whole thing began. All right. I asked the question. Let's see here. Does anybody have an answer for me? Okay, there we go. Good. Peter's in. Peter says yes. A boss has a right to go up to an employee and go, your perfume choices suck. Other people talking shit behind your back. You need to knock that crap off or you're going to be the office weirdo. Peter says, yeah, the boss gets to say that. Barney says, absolutely the boss gets to say that. Maddie says, not an answer. Peter's telling on himself. Peter's like, I have asthma, so I would say it right away. That shit fucks with me. Peter, you ain't that guy. Peter, don't be that guy. Go move to a different. Peter's the office complainer. I got asthma. Well, I'll tell you, don't let Cam Scattaboo hear that. Cam Scattaboo thinks you're soft. Remember, played that clip a couple of weeks ago. Cam Scattaboo, running back for the New York Giants, went on a podcast and said the kids that need puffers are soft. What a dick. All right, Peter. Appreciate it. You're absolutely right. If it's bad, and I think we've all been around women who don't know how to put on makeup or perfume for that matter. By the way, isn't that the weird thing? I go to a grocery store. Oh, God, here goes Pugs talking about grocery stores. I go to a grocery store, and there's a woman there. She works at the grocery store. She works in the self-checkout. She's one of those ladies that comes running when the self-checkout is like, he's stealing. Well, at least that's how it feels. Every time the self-checkout stops, and it's like, you need somebody to make sure to, you're not stealing from us. I always feel very guilty. I'm a guilty soul. I don't know why. Anyway, point is this. There's a woman there every single time. She's in her 60s. She might even be like in her early 70s. This woman doesn't know how to put on makeup. Have you ever seen that? Like a grown-ass woman. She's like, it's like really weird and it's too much. And I'm like, argh. Now, boys go through this. A young boy, like my son, had to learn about men's cologne because I remember one time he got into my car and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because he's like, what? I just got out of the shower. I'm like, you didn't shower. I go, you just took a bath in cologne. You smell like a CK1 truck collided with a polo barge. You smell awful. Like, so boys don't really, they got to learn. You got to learn. A man eventually learns that it's just a little whiff. That's all you need. But there's a lot of women out there that don't know how to put on perfume. There's a lot. And I think they're just stinky ladies who are overcompensating because they're not showering as much as they should. Barney. Okay. So Barney says absolutely. So far, everybody's pretty much, everybody says, yeah. Maddie goes into a bit more detail. She says, I used to be a fragrance director for Dillard's. Fragrance is tough. Some people do have allergies and are sensitive to fragrances. Yes. All right. Adam says, if they can't handle it, they're a bitch. Unless it's something that multiple people are complaining about, then you got to suck it up. All right. Does Adam have more on that? Because I have questions. I have follow-ups for Adam if they can't handle it. So you're talking about the rest of the people who are being Adam, can a boss say it or not? That's what I'm looking for. Can a boss say that? Or does that person then go to human resources and goes, the boss is bullying me? That's all I'm asking for. Kevin says it's all how it is said to the employee. Perfumes affect people's allergies, so there's an absolute right to say something. Peter also goes on to say, I'm a radical lesbian. And I bet you thought I was a dude, Adam. That's right. That's a throwback to the Brandy Carlisle conversation from the other day. I described Brandy Carlisle, someone I don't know, as being a radical lesbian because that is all I know about her. Peter turns out to be a big Brandy Carlisle fan. He declared himself a radical lesbian 2 days ago, so we're going with that. Let's see here. All right, so here's my thoughts on it. Yeah, of course a fucking boss can say that. Otherwise, what does a boss do? What, are you kidding me? Look, we have to acknowledge that in this case, the weirdo is the person who doesn't know how to put perfume on. We need to don't bully the weirdo. No, weirdos need to be, corrected when they're doing things that have made them the weirdo in the first place. Like, being a 70-year-old woman at a grocery store who still doesn't know how to put on makeup. It's weird. It's just weird. Like, I would think she was a man, but she's not. She's obviously a woman who doesn't know how to put on makeup. Some women need to be told too much perfume, too much bad perfume. Okay, there you go. That's the first question. Question of the day. That's how we start. I don't know that we'll have a question tomorrow. It has to happen organically or I'm just not about it. Once again, thank you so much to our executive producer today, Mama B. She can always be counted on. Thank you for helping us. We've got a bit of a way to go here to reach our goal. Hopefully more of you will be compelled to drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App at some point during this show. What are we going to get into today? We got a lot of stuff we got to talk about today. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about the Straits of Hormuz and what's going on there. We'll check in. We'll say what's happening right now in the Straits of Hormuz. We'll figure that out. We're going to talk a little bit about religion. It's not something that I do much here. Because I am ye of little faith. I am a man who was raised Catholic. I am now what I would call culturally Catholic, or if you must, a lapsed Catholic. I enjoy the bells and whistles of my cultural upbringing, but, I'm not so much for the rules, kind of like all the evangelicals out there. So apparently we're at a war with Vatican, right? Greenland, Canada, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, the Vatican. All right. Did I miss anybody? So we're going to talk a little bit about the story that is percolating around the Pentagon's meeting with an envoy from the Vatican, okay? And apparently it didn't go well, but there are a lot of nonsense details that are clouding this argument. We're seeing it everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. So we'll figure out what are the actual facts. Like, I'll tell you this much. One of the things that is being intentionally complicated is the answer to the question, when did this occur? Okay, because it's being presented like it occurred on Sunday or Monday or whatever. So we'll answer a whole bunch of those questions. We're also going to take a look at religions in America by demographic. We're going to figure out who's got the biggest army. All right, if we're just going to turn into a religious war in this country, what are we looking at here? I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about my chances. How about you? Buddhists going to get their asses kicked. This is not going to be good for the Buddhists. But then again, that's probably the whole Buddhists by nature will get their asses kicked, right? Isn't that the whole Buddhism thing? Gas prices, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a major American department started by Teddy Roosevelt that is now closed. That's right. They snuck that one in 2 hours ago. A major American department is no longer a thing. Teddy Roosevelt spinning in his grave. The man who claims, Trump, the guy who claims to love Teddy Roosevelt seems to know fuck all about Teddy Roosevelt. But okay. So I'll tell you about that. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Melania is unpopular. We'll figure out why that is. There's new numbers that show she's the most unpopular first lady in history. Of course, they only go back to Nancy Reagan, but still, they've got poll numbers on all of them. Got an Artemis 2 update, Michael J. Fox update, because, is he dead or is he not dead? We don't know. And if we have time, actually, we do know. Michael J. Fox is alive. All right, I'm not going to play that game. Michael J. Fox is alive, although CNN seems to think he might be dead. And if we have time, we'll do the two teachers, one traumatized victim story from yesterday. Two teachers pulled. Well, you can't really say it that way because it's chicks. I was gonna say 2 teachers pulled a train on some poor traumatized 17-year-old super stud. Like, there's pictures of him, which is weird because usually there's not pictures of the victim, the traumatized victim. 2 hot teachers pulled a train on a traumatized victim. If we have time, we'll do that story. The 2 hot teachers, they can't. That's not a female thing, right? The train, you pull a train. That's a dude thing. 2 dudes pulled the train. I don't know. I'm not a pervert, man. I'm sorry. The lingo doesn't come natural to me. All right, so we got all that stuff and more. Let's see. Plus some videos. I got some funny videos we can watch too. You know how we kill time around here. I thank you for spending the afternoon with me. All right, what does Maddie want? I said I don't know how to spell her name, or at least maybe I'm doing it wrong, and that's probably really thoughtless, so I figured I should ask. Well, there it is right in her handle. This is why I'm a moron. I never looked at her actual name. Her actual name is right there. All I needed to do, I'm doing it wrong. Of course I am. I spelt it wrong. She prefers Mattie, which is the cute girly version. I gave her the ball player version. Like, that's the thing with baseball players. Every baseball player gets a Y added to their name. If your name is Matt, you're Maddie. Hey, Maddie, get over here. Right? That's just how it is. Bob becomes Bobby. Everybody, It's just true. It's a baseball thing. All right, let's see. The first thing that we're going to get in here to, let's talk about the Straits of Hormuz, because remember we went to war. Okay, let me see if I got to figure this out. I'm going to frame this for you, right? Because we need to do this right. All right, so I guess we got to go back. We got to start at June. So last June, we destroyed Iran's ability to make nuclear missiles, and we took a victory lap, and everybody was very, how badass are we? That was last June. We did that. Then, like around December, January, the same people who ended their ability to ever again make nuclear weapons because they had the big balls and they went out there and they dropped bombs and stuff. Those very same people who took those victory laps in December, they're like, hey, we're like a couple weeks away from them having a nuclear weapon. Now, smart people, normal people went, I thought that wasn't a thing anymore. I thought because of June, you told us because of June, this wasn't a thing. Now you're saying it's a thing again. So apparently Iran was like 2 weeks away from building a missile that could actually hit San Francisco. Yeah, that's what we were told. So we went to war. With Iran because we had to do it, because now or never, right? And all the presidents failed to do it. And, Trump was one of those former presidents that failed to do it, but whatever. So we go to war. We just start flattening shit. And those people, they're human bow weevils. So they just went underground and they're like, all right, we'll ride this out. And we spent like trillions of dollars just, bouncing rocks and whatever the fuck. We didn't do 2 things that, probably could have actually signaled a decisive victory. But there were problems with it. Like we didn't remove the regime. That was like early on in this thing. It was like, let's go get the regime. That's good. Okay. This is a good thing that Trump is doing. He's getting rid of this evil regime for whatever motivation. It doesn't matter. Epstein files. This whole thing is about the Epstein files, but whatever. I was on board. I'm like, regime change. Well, that's off the table there. It's not regime change anymore. Nope. Still going to have radical fundamentalists. They're looking for people within the newly formed government to discuss things with. So no regime change. And the other thing that they could have done is the thing that he threatened to do and then, caved on, because that's what he does, which is destroy the infrastructure of the country. Destroy the ability to produce gasoline, destroy their ability to go from one place to another, take out their power plants, make life miserable for the people. Now, the problem with that is that that's got some global concerns because, innocent civilians and all. We didn't do any of that. We just threw a bunch of our tax dollars and blew up a bunch of rock formations And it was a big show. Anyway, the problem is that, as has been told by, every other administration going back to 47 years since the Islamic regime took power there. The reason that we don't do this, or the reason we've never done this, is because they will just instantly close the Strait of Hormuz, which will cause gas prices globally to skyrocket, and it'll bring in everybody. It'll be a mess. So that's why nobody ever did it. Well, Trump apparently didn't listen to that. So he just did it anyway. And then the Strait of Hormuz situation came up. And he's like, I never saw this coming. Or whatever. I don't know. Or he thought that if carpet bombing, he'll just show them how big and bad he is, and those people will back down, because that's just simply how life has always been for Fred Trump's boy. Everybody backs down when Fred Trump's boy comes in the room. Everybody who's got a capitalist mindset. That's what he's used to. He's used to dealing with other businessmen who will fucking cave because they have no shame, because their only loyalty is the almighty gold brick. They're only interested in getting the deal done. They don't care if they prostrate themselves. That ain't fundamental Islamics. All right? That ain't what's going on over there. None of these people are impressed by Fred Trump's boy. So all of the shit that he did, that he thought was going to intimidate him, did nothing except waste a bunch of fucking money and get a couple of people killed, which, God forbid, I don't mean to say that in a way that diminishes their sacrifice. That is not my intention. People did die. Thankfully, and I say this thankfully, it's not hundreds yet. I mean, we're not over. Or are we? Because Trump, who started the war, then claimed, here, actually, I think I have, don't I have this? There was, I had something. You know what? I don't think I had it because I didn't see it this morning. Yeah. Somebody had made a list of all of the things that Trump had said by date since the war started. And it was like, March 31st, the war is over, we won. April 1st, NATO better help us. And March 4th, they can't do anything anymore. We've completely destroyed them. March 5th, they better open the Straits of Hormuz. Like, it's just craziness. Absolute fucking insanity from this president. We want it's over. We need help. Very next day, we don't need anybody's help. Fucking like public tantrums from the leader of the free world. It's very weird. Anyway, everybody knew this was going to happen. Everybody knew gas prices were going to go up. But this son of a bitch is so desperate to get us to stop talking about Epstein that he doesn't care. That he started a war. Now here we are, he calls a peace treaty. Why did he call a peace treaty or a ceasefire? Here's why he did it. Because once again, big baller Fred Trump's boy made a fucking threat and they didn't even budge. They're like, really? Oh, Tuesday's going to be fucking power plant day? Bring it on, asshole. And Trump's like, I can't really do that, can I? Because then they will bring me up on charges at The Hague. He was never going to do it. He's never going to do it. Because one thing that Trump does, he protects his own ass in these kind of situations. He's got bravado and he likes to walk around and pretend like he's got big balls. But make no mistake, this son of a bitch is going to cave. Like he caves on everything. All the big talk, and then... So, of course, Tuesday wasn't power plant day because he at the last minute made some deal that is just awful, that hands control of the Strait of Hormuz to Iran, something they've never had complete control of. But now they do, because Trump is now desperate to get this thing over because they called his fucking bluff on power plant day. This guy is a clown. Anyway, so the Strait of Hormuz, that's the victory. All right, look, Americans, right? I'm trying to channel him and the basic vibe that he presented. All right, Americans, look at what Daddy did. Gas prices gonna come down because I care about you. You guys should have some eggs. Eggs are really cheap. Trump eggs. So that's what he said. So we reopened the Straits of Hormuz, and we're all like, the fucking strait was open before you started this, dummy. And it was controlled by people we can deal with. Now it's controlled by someone that won't even talk to us. But okay, good, it's open. So that was what that was all about. Ceasefire. We're gonna stop the world from worrying by reopening the straits, and Well, they haven't reopened the straits. That's the problem. The ceasefire is bullshit. All this ceasefire is that we stopped. We stopped. It's not like they were attacking us. So the ceasefire is apparently between the United States and Iran. So what? Iran is like, yeah, okay, we'll stop blowing up your base. Iran did nothing. They sent some drones. They attacked one base. America did 1,000,000 times more damage. And America's like, we need a ceasefire. Well, just fucking stop then, dude. Just fucking stop. But he needed the cover of it appearing like it was through diplomatic means and measures. And, oh, my people are working on this round the clock. Ceasefire. No, you just quit. It's not a ceasefire. You just fucking stopped, dude. And you presented it like, well, we're going to stop because they're going to reopen the strait. And they haven't reopened the straits. All right, so I looked into this. I wanted to know what the current status is there in the Strait of Hormuz. And let's see what it has. Hold on. Let me get the closest update. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on. What is the current status and traffic of the Strait of Hormuz as of 12:52 p.m. Central Standard Time on April the 9th, 2026, 2 days after the ceasefire? AI, we're going to let AI tell us. Don't give me the, AI doesn't know. No, yeah, you used to say that about the internet. Remember when everybody was like, oh, you heard it on the internet, did you? You heard it on the internet? Now all you fucks only get your news from the internet, so shut up. All right. As of today, Thursday, April 9th, 2026 at 9:48 a.m. All right, so this is a couple hours ago. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively blocked with shipping traffic at a standstill despite a fragile 2-week ceasefire agreement. While a ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran officially began on April 8th, it has already been severely undermined by recent Israeli strikes in Lebanon. See, the Israelis were never really in on this either. The Israelis have been bombing more than they have in the last week in Lebanon after the ceasefire. And, the targets in Lebanon are all, as we all know, they are Iranian affiliated. And so, no, there's still all kinds of crazy shit going on over there. The only thing that's different now is that Trump isn't on a timer where we're all looking at him going, what happens next? Although he gave himself that famous Trump 2-week timer. 2 weeks. People will forget. We'll quietly start bringing people back. And then in 2 weeks, I'll say, oh, yeah, it's fine now. All the soldiers are back. Let's see. There's minimal traffic currently. It is at minimal traffic status in the Strait of Hormuz. Normal traffic sees about 140 vessels per day. This has dropped by more than 95%. In the last 24 hours, only 11 ships, mostly Chinese or Greek-owned with direct links to Iran, have successfully transited the strait. So they're, same as before the ceasefire. The only boats that are getting through are the Chinese boats and boats that have direct links to Iranian oil. That's it. Not our boats, not their boats, not ceasefire. If the ceasefire was all right, we're going to stop kicking their ass and they're going to open the straits. That's how it was presented. We're going to stop. We scared the shit out of them. No, we didn't. They didn't change anything. They stopped. They did nothing with the strait. You look like a fool yet again, the great negotiator. Bunch of dudes in fucking bed sheets are making you look like a goddamn video store operator in 1995. That's a weird reference. It's a personal story. Didn't know anything about business, had an opportunity to be Blockbuster, and he didn't know business. So that's why I made the reference. It was just somebody I knew. Let's see here. Iranian control of the strait continues. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps asserts that the waterway is under its management. Passing ships are currently required to coordinate directly with Iranian armed forces. So the only way boats are getting through, ceasefire or not. See, again, it doesn't matter what he's telling you. He told the whole fucking country this. Doesn't matter. He's just lying. He just needed a way to not look like he didn't follow through on his threat to end the civilization. Big talker. He's a big fucking talker. You know what else we call that? Bullshit artists. Thankfully, I've known this since the 1990s. I've been tracking this clown for years, and some of you were like, no, he seems good. No, he seems what? What do you mean he doesn't seem trustworthy? Oh, my God. You're the people who get conned, and you got conned on a grand scale. Selective passage is occurring in the Strait of Hormuz. Permission is largely restricted to vessels from, quote, friendly nations to Iran, like China or Russia. U.S. and Israeli-linked ships remain strictly excluded from free passage. Shipping routes are heavily disrupted due to the potential presence of anti-ship mines that have been laid by Iran. Major shipping firms like Hapag-Lloyd are currently refraining from transiting through the straits because of the high risk. The White House has called reports of the closure false. The reporter's going, what do you mean it's open? What? You guys aren't there. So, of course, every report in the world is saying it's still fucking closed. People are still complaining. Gas prices are still going up. And the White House is going, that's not true. Everything's moving great. Conflict of statements. The White House has called reports of the closure false and demanded an immediate and safe reopening. What? You can't have both. Are reports that it's closed false? Okay, so it's open. So why are you demanding its immediate reopening? All right, again, here's our White House. Reports that it's closed are false, but we are demanding its immediate reopening. That is a quote from the fucking White House. Like, who do they think is still listening to them? Jesus. I gotta read that again. Where is it? Did I lose it? The White House has called reports of the closure false and stated, in a statement, demanded an immediate and safe reopening. All right, so there you go. That's the statement. The White House called the reports of the Strait of Hormuz being closed as false and then demanded that it immediately be reopened. Why are you demanding it be reopened? You just said that it's open. They said it's closed, and you said that's a lie, and then you're like, no, open it. Oh, this is who we are. This is who we are. You voted for it, not me. You voted for it. I told you. We told you. Enough weirdos. That's the problem. There are a lot of weirdos, a lot of irritating people agreed with me. And I don't know if they were just agreeing with me because they could see it or if they're just agreeing with me because he's a Republican. And, you know. Anyway, it's just so fucking obvious what clown this guy is. Gas prices. All right, so that was sort of the thing that, you know, the Twitter megabots went out there like, here come the gas prices coming down. Thank President Trump. Gas prices ain't coming down. First of all, there's a 3-week delay. They say. They're like, oh, well, so even if gas prices, if the price of oil dropped to like $50 a barrel tonight, we wouldn't feel that at the pump for 3 weeks. Do you believe that's true? I don't believe that's true. I believe they could immediately drop it. I mean, I imagine that they could. They won't because they want to milk as much profit as they possibly can. Now, here's where I call bullshit on that. If an oil tanker splits open in the South China Sea on a Wednesday, okay, by noon Thursday, gas prices are already up. So which is it? Does it take 3 weeks for any event concerning world oil supply to actually affect us as the pump? Or does it just happen overnight? We're lied to about everything. That's what capitalism is. I'm sorry, that's what American capitalism is. It's all a fucking shell game, and you people are all about it. And by the way, the other choice isn't communism. Okay, that's a bit extreme. All right. Let's see here. Gas prices. Where are we at? Let me give you the latest on the gas prices. Oh, man. Can I not give you the latest on the gas prices? All right. Who cares? It comes to us from Gas Buddy. I'll tell you latest on my gas prices. I paid $4.69 2 days ago. I'm on empty again. I got to get more gas. And it's already up. It's not $4.69 anymore. I think it's like $4.71. Something like that. I don't know. No, it's always a 9, isn't it? It's always a 9. Like it never goes up 3 cents. It goes up 10 cents. If it's $4.39 and it goes up, it's going to go up to $4.49. It's not going to go up to $4.45. It's always a 9. Every opportunity to just screw us, nickel and dime us out of whatever, they take it. Yeah, I know that the situation in the strait has been resolved. I mean, the president says so. But you're not going to feel that. You're not going to see the gas prices drop for about 3 weeks. It's going to take about 3 weeks. Hey, why are gas prices so expensive this morning? Oh, because there was an earthquake in Kazakhstan last night. Oh, and it affected my price that quick. Oh, cool. Speaking of gas stations, I wanted to show this to you as a little bit of break from an angry rant. One of the things that I know that people in Texas and even people in the who traverse Texas, one of the things that they love, one of the great things about Texas culture is Buc-ees, right? Speaking of gas stations, Buc-ees, for those of you who don't know, and there are a lot of people who don't know, Buc-ees is definitely a regional thing. There are a lot of people that don't know about Buc-ees. Buc-ees is a gas station that when you're driving to Florida with the kids, or I guess maybe in this case Corpus Christi with the kids, from Little Rock, or I don't know, wherever you are. If you're driving through the South, you will see gas stations. You will see, maybe you're used to the Road America or Gas America, the big giant truck stop gas stations. We're not talking about, Cooter's joint there in Hooterville. No, we're talking about these big, modern, they've got showers and locker rooms for truckers. And anyway, Buc-ees is kind of the top tier of that. Buc-ees is being a little silly when it comes to that stuff because it's a gas station the size of a Walmart. First of all, can we just point that out? That's not a gas station. That's a Walmart. That's a Costco. That place is so big. I enjoy Buc-ees, but I enjoy Buc-ees ironically because it is trash. Everything is overpriced and it is designed to get people who are on vacation with expendable income to buy stupid shit. I don't get it. Now, here's what you can say about Buc-ees. If you have been on the road for a long time, it is an awesome place to spend a half hour. Maybe you didn't think you were going to spend a half hour at the gas station. But you can spend a half hour at Buc-ees. Hell, you can go Buc-ees. Hell, you can go to the back. You can get brisket. Their brisket's terrific. I'm not a brisket expert. I didn't grow up eating brisket. Brisket was new to me about 30 years ago when I was already a grown-up. But I love it. And I'll tell you that brisket at Buc-ees is nothing to sneeze at. It's really good. I also love their wall of jerky. Let's not kid ourselves. Boy, if you've ever wanted avocado pepper deer jerky, you can go to Buc-ees. They got a bag of it right there. Avocado spicy deer jerky. Grizzly bear jerky. They got jerky. They got all kinds of shit. Anyway, just imagine that. Imagine a roadside stop for gas while you're on vacation with the family, and they provide you everything. Food, clothing. So a woman, and I can tell from her accent, obviously not from the Buc-ees region of the country, she stumbled across a Buc-ees. And I wanted to show this because it's so different than all the other Buc-ees spots that we see. The first time at Buc-ees reaction video is a thing. People, from the north will find themselves at a Buc-ees and they'll film it and they can't believe what they're seeing because it is insane. Here's a woman, though, who's got a little bit of a different take, and I wanted to share it with you because she ain't happy. She ain't happy about what's happening at Buc-ees.
I'm at Buc-ees right now, and I just am looking for an explanation of what the hype is. Like, this is hell. Everyone's like, you gotta go to Buc-ees. This is like a Cracker Barrel and a gas station vomited all over each other.
Okay. All right, this is like a Cracker Barrel and a gas station vomited all over each other. I would say no, it is not. It is what it is I like the Cracker Barrel reference, but it is Buc-ees is a super Walmart and a Travel America center with a Cracker Barrel menage a trois. It's because it's definitely got the Cracker Barrel, exit through the gift shop, buy your bullshit because you're on vacation and you don't care. $20 is $20. We'll take it from you. That's the attitude.
And then made the ugliest clothes you've ever seen. I'm actually horrified because I think this is what Europeans and other people around the world think of when they think of American culture, like in a dystopian way. Like,
yeah, no, she's right. No, she's absolutely right. Nothing like a Buc-ees could ever exist in Europe. They would think that it's grotesque. But we Americans were like, nah, I'm going to buy beef hanging on the wall. Beef jerky, but whatever. But we're fine with it. They're just pretentious. But yeah, she is right. This is, European, snobby Europeans see Buc-ees and they're like, oh, God.
No, it's real. And I'm in here right now, American culture, like Europeans and other people around the world think of when they think of American culture, like in a dystopian way. Like, no, it's real. And I'm in here right now. And what is this? I'm so scared. The excitement surrounding Buc-ees as an institution is an indicator of the state of the mental health of the citizens of this country. I think if you are excited about Buc-ees, you need to go see a therapist. Walmart has been topped. The hell?
Oh, okay. Okay, first of all, she's no fun. She sucks as a person. Could you imagine? But you know what? I'm glad that she got out there and did that video because it gave the dude who has to sit with her in the backseat a break. She does not seem fun. Anyway, it doesn't matter where you go. Gas prices are insane. I will speak as a Yankee who has experienced a couple of different Buc-ees. I will say that I think they're glorious. I think they're fun. I think they're a bit much. They are a bit much. But so what? Let me be honest with you. Also an observation from a Yankee. Hey, Texas, in general, you're a bit much. Texas is a bit much in general. So I'm going to say I love it. I mean, but, come on, if we're being honest. Bit much. Hell, everything's bigger in Texas. That's exactly my point. That is exactly my point. Bit much. All right, big news came this afternoon. Not this afternoon, early this morning. It was announced that the U.S. Forestry Service is no longer a thing. The U.S. Forestry Service has been shut down. I don't know anything about this. I don't know if it should have been shut. What am I? What am I, somebody who goes through the budgets of all like these U.S. Here's what I do know. I do know that the U.S. Forestry Service seems like it was created for a very good reason, which is this country decided at some point that not all our land was allowed to be developed commercially. Some of our very cool shit was going to be kept, and it was going to be preserved, and it was going to be protected by the government. Why? Because the people of America deserve a beautiful place to live. And unlike Europe, where everything that is beautiful is owned privately, America didn't want to be that. America wanted its most beautiful and natural treasures to be protected and open to the public, the citizens of America. You're not going to be told that you need to get the fuck off the land. Well, maybe you will by an armed guard. I guess U.S. military is no different than some fucking duke in England. I say, get off my land. You're supposed to not have that. That's why we have things like our national parks. And, here in the Chicago area, we have something that I think that most Chicagoans take for granted, except when you talk to Chicagoans who live somewhere else. We have the forest preserve system here in Chicago, in Cook County, which basically means that the best land, the absolute most beautiful land where I'm sure there could be $5 million mansions, all that best land here in Chicago is preserved. They're forests, they're biking paths, they're running paths. I tell you all the time about how I go deep into the woods. I can't believe it. I'll be in like a super dense suburb, and then I'll just go into the woods for 5 miles. And all I can think of is there's 500,000 people crammed in around here. You're telling me that they didn't want to develop this beautiful river and lake area? You telling me they didn't want to put a golf course here and make millions? So we have the forest system here. Not a thing in Texas. When I got down there, I'm like, so do you guys have any forest preserves? Like, where do you guys go? Do you guys go running and all that? Well, we have parks. We got some parks. They don't really have forests, but also just land, not federal land. Because again, we're talking about the Forestry Service. Federal Land Forestry Service manages federal land. But even at the local level, that's what I'm saying. All right. Anyway, And it's beautiful. It's amazing. Another example of the preservation here in Chicago as opposed to other places and how this relates to the Forestry Service being closed today by President Trump. So our lakefront, if you've ever seen, the glamour shots of Chicago, it's always our lakefront. It's our lakefront with the beaches and the parks and the Bean and the stadium and the museum campus and all of that. That's intentional. Our lakefront is we're the only major city in America and probably in the world for that matter. We're the only major city that doesn't have an industrialized waterfront. Our waterfront is seen differently here in Chicago. Now, that's just because we burnt down. It's happenstance. The whole city burnt down and they had an opportunity to rebuild the city, and they had some very high and lofty goals. And so they designed the rebuild of Chicago back in 1870. They designed it based on these notions of the waterfront should be for the citizens and not for docks and shipping and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, that attitude used to be very popular in this country, and no less a source than Teddy Roosevelt had that attitude about the beauty of this country. Trump doesn't share that. Trump will tell you that Teddy Roosevelt is his favorite president, but they have nothing in common. They have absolutely nothing. Teddy Roosevelt would have fucking hated Donald Trump. And I know this because I've just recently started rewatching the incredible, 15-hour Ken Burns documentary, The Roosevelts. Teddy Roosevelt wouldn't have liked Trump, but Trump will name check him because I think stupid people think that Teddy Roosevelt is just about being a badass and fighting wild animals. Like, if you're really stupid and don't know anything about Teddy Roosevelt, you think that the charge up San Juan Hill is probably the only thing he was, and that's, just how you brand him. No, wrong. Teddy Roosevelt was a great mind and also a bit of an alpha douche, but he was a great mind. And he created the system in this country that preserved our most beautiful lands. He created the national park system. And yes, he created back in 1905. I don't have it. He created the forestry system. Donald Trump ended the forestry system today with very little fanfare 2 hours ago. Now, what does the forestry system do? Well, for one thing, it stops wildfires. And you'll remember Trump used to be a supporter of the forestry department because back a couple of years ago, you might remember, there were terrible forest fires out west, as there always are. Wildfires, if you will. And Trump, remember when Trump was like, it's because they're not sweeping the forest. That's why. If I was president, this would never happen. Because you see, what you got to do is you got to do what they do over in Europe. They got to sweep the forest. Remember when he wanted us to do more forest sweeping? Well, I make fun of him because he's a fucking monster. But honestly, that is what the Forest Service does. The Forest Service primary goal is to manage the forests and to mitigate the risk of wildfires, brush fires, and severe cataclysmic forest fires. That's what they do. Well, they're gone. That's all right. So we're like a year past the Palisades fires, and this guy is like, yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that. It says here the Trump administration did not outright order a total closure of the U.S. Forest Service. It did launch the beginning of what they are calling sweeping restructuring and coordinated demolition of the Forestry Service. Here are the actions that will go into effect today. Regional office shuttering. The Trump administration has ordered the closure of all 10 regional offices that have managed the 154 national forests for over a century. We're coming up on forest fire season, right? Did he check a calendar? So, we're coming up on it. Dry seasons, wind. All right, that's good. So, in Sedona, when it catches fire next week, just remember, Trump closed the regional office of the Forestry Service. So, I don't know who you're going to call now. Cops are going to be like, we should call the Forestry Service. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. All right, so they're going to shutter 10 regional offices. These regional offices manage 154 national forests. They've been doing it for over a century. These are being replaced by future. So not even yet. There's nothing to replace them now. In the future, these will be replaced by 15 state-based offices led by political appointees. That's right. They've politicized the office of making sure that the forests don't burn. Cool. Fucking cool. Because, Washington is filled with bureaucrats and people who run departments and stuff who have no allegiance to any particular partisan worldview whatsoever. Some are Republicans, some are Democrats, some came in at this point, some at others. But the point is, they've been there for like 5, 6, 7 different administrations, and Trump fucking hates these people. Because all these people know what a clown Trump is. None of them are like MAGA, so Trump wants them gone. People who run this country without any political bias, the people who do it every day, shuffling the papers and, making the coffees the senators drink, those fucking people, we're fucking them over because that's what we do. We're just firing them all. 154 forests now have nobody looking over them. Research facilities are closed. More than 50 of the agency's 77 research facilities across 31 states are being shuttered. This includes global leading research labs located in Michigan, Minnesota, Oregon, and California that study wildfire risk and climate change. Well, there you go. You had climate change on your stationery, and Trump saw, what is this? That's what it was. Forest fires, he'd be like, okay, are they sweeping the forests? He'd ask. But he went and saw climate change. That didn't work. The headquarters. Oh, here's a little trick they do. They do this a lot. The headquarters of the U.S. Forestry Service is being moved out of the agency's long-standing headquarters there in Washington, D.C., relocated to Salt Lake City. This is a move that is designed, it is believed, to trigger mass resignations from career professionals. They're only moving the headquarters so that, the 150 people who work at headquarters, maybe 130 of them will quit because they don't want to move to Salt Lake City. They live in D.C. Could you imagine being a D.C. person and having to go live in? Nope. Staff reductions. It says before the official reorganization takes place, the Forest Service is reportedly they've reportedly lost over 5,800 employees, roughly 18% of its workforce. This just in the first half of 2025. So Doge came in and so I guess that's what happened. Doge came in, fired everybody. That's been a year. And over the last year, they've been really struggling because Doge fired everybody. And Trump's like, they suck. They're gone. All right. So fuck you, Teddy Roosevelt. Anyway, there you have it. The U.S. Forestry Department apparently is no longer a thing. So the next time, we're coming up on forest fire season, it's going to be no data. I don't know. Maybe it is redundant. I just think it seems stupid because, to me, he does a lot of stupid shit, but I don't really know. Maybe it is a redundancy. Maybe we've got other things that can handle the sweeping of the forests. Hold on, guys. All right. Sorry, guys. All right. Let's see. Yeah. What else do we have? Let's get into, all right, the shutting down of the Forestry Service. Oh, boy. Do we want to do this now? Yeah, we'll do it now. All right, let's talk about the whole Trump versus the Pope thing. This story kind of crackled last night around 8 o'clock where it was revealed somebody. Actually, the first person I saw it was that podcaster guy who used to be MAGA, who is now not MAGA. And Anyway, Sean Ryan, I think is his name. Not the talented Sean Ryan. There is Sean Ryan, who is a creator of television series. Sean Ryan has created The Shield. Woo! You ever seen The Shield? Sean Ryan created The Shield. Sean Ryan created The Unit with David Mamet. That was a great show. It was like dad porn, but with David Mamet dialogue. So good. What else did he do? Anyway, whatever. Sean Ryan's a really good TV producer and TV creator, and he has absolutely nothing to do with this Sean Ryan, who's just a fucking podcaster. I used to be in the SEALs, so now I get a podcast and all the alpha dicks fucking listen. Anyway, he used to be MAGA. He's one of these guys responsible for the situation that we're in because he seems reasonable and he touted Trump and all that. So reasonable people who need a follower, who need to be followers, they listen to him and they voted Trump. Now he's like, Trump sucks, made a mistake. Okay, great. You made a mistake. So now he's talking all kinds of shit. Anyway, it was Sean Ryan last night. He was the first person whose post that I saw that was talking about, and Sean Ryan, because he's a duplicitous fuck, don't give me the whole, he was a Navy SEAL. Yeah, fuck you. He intentionally misleads people with his tweets all the time. Case in point, last night. Sean Ryan put a tweet out that would give you the impression, if you were reading it, well, Pugs, how can he be responsible for, what you're oh, shut up, man. He did it intentionally. He was vague in the way he worded it. He made a post that made it seem like Trump summoned a representative from the Vatican to the Pentagon, and then somebody at the Pentagon got into a fight with one of Pope Leo's Vatican envoys. The Sean Ryan guy made it seem like that happened like the other day, and that it was somehow connected to Trump calling a ceasefire. And it was just so, I'm like, this is not. And then a lot of other people last night started posting, and it started to look like this was a thing that had recently happened. It's not. Now, it is true. It is, all of the things that have been reported are true. That an envoy from the Vatican, from the Holy See, we'll use the terminology as it's supposed to be, an envoy of the Holy See was summoned, if you will, to the Pentagon, where some lackey, not even like some assistant, to the executive, or some lackey sat with this bishop and then lectured him about some of the things that were said. We're the United States of America. We're the most powerful country in the world. We can do whatever we want, and you need to be on our side. That is reported to have been said. At any rate, it was at least in the way it was reported. And by the way, when I say reported, the Vatican newspaper, the Vatican newspaper wrote about this like a month ago, except nobody reads the Vatican newspaper. So, but now it's picking up some steam. So let me tell you, first of all, also we should talk about the backlash of this. So Pope Leo canceled. He was supposed to, we were all very excited. Look, he's from here. We wanted him to throw out the pitch at a White Sox game. Maybe be in the suites for a Bears game in October. He's the first American pope. Do you know what it's like when a pope comes to this country? Can you imagine what it's going to be like when the first American pope comes home? So that was something that was going to be fun. It was going to be a cool thing to look forward to. Yeah, Leo's like, not while Trump is president. I am not fucking coming back. Canceled. There was a plan in the works for 2026, late summer 2026. It's like, yes. Honestly, I think Pope Leo was looking at the window where he could get a White Sox game in and a Bears game. So I think he was like looking at early September, the Sox are home and the Bears are playing Green Bay, right? All right, Pope wants that. Pope's going to come to America for that. It would have been something fun, but he's not doing it. All plans have been canceled for any sort of Vatican visit to the United States, which is a real fucking shame. And it is supposedly because of this confrontation that happened in January. Here, let me see if I've got the real. All right, let me give you the dates here. All right, so it says here, these reports that have surfaced, they are confirmed that senior Pentagon officials summoned and threatened the Vatican's top diplomat in January of 2026. This following the Pope's criticism of U.S. military policy. So this was a long time ago. It was about something unrelated to Iran, but it was in January. I shouldn't say a long time ago, but it was in Pope time, or in Trump time, that was like a long time ago. But this happened then, okay? Didn't become a big news story because nobody reported it. See, I tell you guys this all the time. There is news that's happening every fucking day. It is just that there's like a couple of gatekeepers left who get to report or get to decide whatever the stories are that we're going to hear about today. I say it every time there's a big breaking news story that suddenly everybody drops everything and goes wire to wire, like Charlie Kirk. It was 3 days of Charlie Kirk. Well, you got to ask yourself, if Charlie Kirk hadn't happened, what would they be talking about? And what are they not informing us of now because they're dedicating all this time to some bullshit? Anyway, this story happened in January, and it's only becoming front page news today. Somebody found a way to make it, trend, I guess. It says here, according to reporting from the Free Press and the Letters from Leo, that's like a publication there at the Vatican, Letters from Leo, where he writes about, Anyway, the summoning, right? Let's get to this. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, Elbridge Colby, summoned Cardinal Christopher Pierre, then the Vatican's ambassador to the U.S., to a closed-door meeting at the Pentagon. Officials reportedly gave the cardinal a sharp dressing down, with Colby allegedly telling the cardinal, the United States has the military power to do whatever it wants in the world. The Catholic Church had better take its side. Pentagon officials reportedly invoked the Avignon papacy. See, this is a real problem. This is where it got fucking real for the Vatican. Because see, Hegseth and all of these guys, I told you yesterday about Hegseth and how he loves all the worst aspects of Christianity. Like he's got multiple tattoos that glorify the Crusades. Like to him, he's like, that's what Jesus was about. Killing brown people. So he's all fucked up with this shit. The Avignon papacy occurred, I don't know, man, like 12th century, 13th century. Anyway, what it was a time when the French king, the king of France, started to put all kinds of pressure on Rome, on the Pope. And there was you have to understand, the French were the big Catholic country. The French they were all Catholics, the French. Anyway, so the Avignon papacy refers to a period of time where the French pretended like they had their own pope who was based in Avignon and not Rome. And it's a clear threat. Like you have a cardinal, you have to understand, you and me, we don't know all about that stuff, right? Maybe we've heard about it. I don't know. But a cardinal knows. I mean, that's like, so this is the big problem within the Catholic Church. Priests are freaking out all over. What are you talking about? You are literally in 2026 making a threat against the Vatican, saying that, you'll destroy the Vatican and create some alternate Vatican, as was done. Anyway, that's the Avignon lecture. And apparently, Avignon papacy was mentioned during this dressing down, which just shows you that these people are all fucking lunatics. You don't even know how to talk to a fucking cardinal? You don't dress down a fucking cardinal. I don't know. Maybe I'm Catholic. I don't know. Maybe I have respect and regard for people and positions and other people's customs and all that stuff. Even if I don't believe in it, I mean, I'm not a fucking Buddhist, but I'll tell you what, if the Dalai Lama shows up in front of me, I'm going to go along with the whole, oh, Your Honor. I'm doing it because I'm not an asshole. Don't have to live my life by that. But because I'm not an asshole, I recognize and respect other people's faiths and ways of doing things. You don't talk to a fucking cardinal that way. Holy shit, these people are... The Avignon reference. Pentagon officials reportedly invoked the Avignon papacy, 14th century. There you go. Pentagon officials reportedly invoked the Avignon papacy, a 14th century period when the French monarchy forced the papacy into submission. Vatican sources interpreted this as a threat of military force or interference against the Holy See. So that's why this is a big story today, because it popped, and now you got the Catholics churning in, and you've got the fucking Catholics ginned up, man. I'm not even a full-time Catholic, and you got me fucking pissed off with this. What? The Vatican is not a political entity, okay? What they are is the moral compass of about, 100 million Americans. You better tread fucking lightly, stupid. The tensions here, the reason the meeting was called back in January, mind you, this is not recent, but the reason that the meeting was called, it was sparked by Pope Leo's January State of the World address, in which he criticized diplomacy based on force in what he termed imperialist occupations. This guy's a fucking baller, man. I'm telling you, this guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. He's going to be, he's going to define the early stages of his papacy, because he's going to be there, theoretically, for the next 20, 25 years. Trump ain't. So this dude is going to define the early stages of his papacy, which a lot of people think is going to be one of the most successful of the past 100 years. This is an American, this is a Western Pope. This is going to, I mean, it's already done incredible things for the American Catholic Church. It's grown for the first time in 20 years. The Catholic Church has been shrinking, but since Leo, it has been growing here in America. It's bringing people back. It's making me go, Jesus, maybe I don't know if I can go to a church. Anyway, diplomatic fallout as a direct result of these tensions. The Vatican has canceled plans for a papal visit to the U.S. for the 250th anniversary. That sucks. That's remember, he said that this was announced. So this is the part of the story that we learned, because we learned back in January. You remember when the Pope said he's not coming to Trump's stupid little parade because Trump wanted him to come to a 250th parade, and he's like, nope. And instead, the Pope is going to go to like some island where migrants funnel through, and he's going to go spend the day July 4th with migrants because he's a fucking good man. Look, we all can't live our lives like that, but the fact that one dude is out there living his life being like super good and loving all people, that's the image that we need. That's the leader of, I was going to say, that's the leader of my church. I'm trying to be antagonistic. I was like, that's the leader of my church, but it's not. It's not. But if I had a church, it would be. What's up with the leader of your church? Your leader of your church probably got a Learjet. That's cool. That's cool too. That's cool too. All right, so the next thing I wanted to go into here is this weird sort of thing that seems to be going on. There is seemingly some anti-Catholic sentiment that is being popularized. I mean, it's look. I never thought that there was anything wrong with us Catholics until I got old enough, and then I'm like, what do you mean hillbillies hate us? What do you mean the Klan hates us? What do we do? I'm a white guy, right? That's just what I thought. I'm a white Catholic guy, and then you learn about all these things that people don't like. And I understand why people don't like Catholicism. I've been saying this, I think I first mentioned it on the air the other day. It's weird. Catholics are weird, right? Weird. It's spooky. They're weird and spooky. And what does weird and spooky make? Cool. That's what the Catholic Church is. It's weird and it's spooky. And anytime you combine weird and spooky, you get cool. Let's look at the Saw movies. It's the Saw movies. Catholicism is the Saw movies of religion. Weird and spooky. All right, so I gotta tell you, I mean, because of the way I was raised, everywhere I ever looked and everywhere I ever saw, there was a Catholic church on the corner, and there was hundreds of people in the neighborhood who went to school there, and that was their church. We identify by parishes here in Chicago. Like, you don't say what neighborhood you're from. As a matter of fact, the neighborhood that I grew up in, I think is called Auburn. I think that's technically what the city calls it, but I've never even heard. I mean, I've heard it obviously, but it's not something that's used. So like I grew up in a neighborhood where the church was called St. Thomas More. So if anywhere in Chicago you ran into somebody and they said, where are you from? We would say Tommy Moore. And they'd be like, oh, okay. South side. Yeah. Okay. And that's just how. So my point is this: growing up, I thought everybody was Catholic. I thought everybody in Chicago was Catholic. When I'd meet somebody that wasn't Catholic, it was always a Jew. That was it. Everybody was either Catholic or Jewish. Oh, you're not Catholic? You're Jewish. Then I go to college, and one of the first things that one of my teachers did was he had everybody stand or raise their hand for what they are. Now, I had only known people who were white and Catholic. Most people I knew were white, Irish, and Catholic, but let's be honest, I went to high school with Italians and that kind of thing. So, but everybody was Catholic. So the teacher is like, how many Jews or how many people of the Jewish faith? I don't know if she said Jews, but she said, how many people of the Jewish faith do we have in this room? And I'm like, oh man, there's going to be none of that. And then like 7 people raised their hands. I'm like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did all these Jews come from? And then she's like, would everybody who's Catholic raise their hand? And I'm like, here we go. And I raise my hand and I look around and there's only like 3 others. I'm like, what do you mean there's more Jews in this class? Well, years later, it was a media class. So, maybe that had something to do with it. Point is this. I was interested to find out what the breakdowns of religions are in this country. Like if we just, do hell in the cell, if we just all get together and go, all right, let's fucking do this, man. And we just all have it out. If all the religions went at each other, who would win? And I have determined, don't worry, guys, you don't have to run the numbers yourself because I'm here for you. I have determined Catholics in a fucking landslide. In a landslide. Now, I wasn't right as a kid when I thought everybody in the country is Catholic, but I'll tell you this, most people are. If it ever came down, I mean, now look, technically, if you want to break it down, evangelical Protestants are actually a larger group than Catholics, but not by a whole lot. It's, I think, evangelical Protestants are ranked between 71 million and 78 million. And Catholics in America are at 70 million to 75 million. Okay. So it's very close, but Catholics are all on the same team. You can't say that for evangelical Protestants. They're a mixed match of dude, they got people who do snakes. They got people who are like Benny Hinn. They got people who have legitimate, beautiful Christian services. They've got it all. But they're certainly not all of one lockstep. So if a war broke out, you'd have a whole bunch of freelancers on that side. You'd have a whole bunch of people looking to broker the best deal for themselves. So it's not really a unified thing. If you are talking about a religion where everybody has the same sort of view and their own personal thing, and the Vatican is our boss, we know who the leader of our religion is, that's the Pope. There ain't nobody in America like the Catholics. So as a voting bloc, I don't understand why it seems that this administration, and maybe not so much President Trump at the very top, although President Trump doesn't like to be criticized. See, understand my thing. President Trump hating on Leo, I don't think it has anything to do with Leo being a Catholic. It has everything to do with Leo criticizing Trump. Trump hates anybody who criticizes him. Pete Hegseth, I think, hates Catholics. I think it's Pete Hegseth and these weirdos that he's got around him, right? These crusade versionists of Christianity. The best thing we ever did. No, the best thing Christianity ever did was Jesus died for our sins. Okay, that's it. That's the best thing. Crusades had why is your body adorned with crusade? It was probably the biggest mistake Christianity ever made. And it is an obvious example of how power, money, and monarchy can actually manipulate faith. But no. To these fucking people, it's the best thing about Christianity when we killed a bunch of people for not being like us. It's fucking scary. So here are the numbers. Ethnic groups by numbers, okay? Or not ethnic groups, but I should say religious groups by numbers in America. Presbyterians. We'll start out with Presbyterians. Yeah, you guys are being eliminated in round one. There's only 9 million Presbyterians in America. 9 million. Buddhists, also not good. But I think we knew that the Buddhists were not going to fare well in any kind of religious war that might break out here in this country. There are 2 to 3.7 million Buddhists. That's it. 2 to 3.7. Muslims. How about this one? I got to be honest with you. Where I am on the south side of Chicago, this neighborhood that I'm in here, very, very, very Muslim. Used to be very Catholic, but neighborhoods change. So about, 10, 15 years ago, this neighborhood where I'm doing this show from is very, very Muslim. I could spin around, spin into the wind, and I'll hit a falafel store. There is nothing but like Arabic food all around here. And I happen to love Mediterranean and Arabic food, so I'm okay with it. But Muslims in this country only account for 0.9% to 1.2% of the religious population, and their numbers are 3.1 to 4.1 million. That's it. There's only like 1 million more Muslims than there are Buddhists, and I would think that the Muslim number was bigger than that. I really did. But here's the tricky thing. A lot of people that you see, because your uncle who gets triggered when he sees somebody that doesn't look like him. So your uncle probably gets triggered by a bunch of them Muslims, but a lot of them are Christian. Like there's a lot of Christian. What I'm saying is there are a lot of people who look like they're from that point of the world who are Christian. So Maybe that accounts for it. I don't know. Anyway, 3.1 million to 4.1 million Muslims. All right, I'll give you the numbers on Presbyterians, 9 million in this country, Buddhists, 3.7 million at best, and Muslims, 4.1 million at best. Next group, Jews. Let's talk about the Jews. All right, what do you think? Do you think there are more Jews or Presbyterians in the United States? We've set the bar for Presbyterians at 9 million. Are there more Jews than Presbyterians? Nope, no, there's not. All right, so we don't even worry about that. We got on the high end, we got about 7.5 million Jews. 7.5 million Jews, so, just about 1.5 million less than the Presbys. How exciting. All right, so Presbyterians got 9 million. Buddhists got 3.7 million. Again, this isn't in order. Well, you could probably tell from the numbers. Buddhists have 3.7 million. Muslims have 4.1 million. Jews, 7.5 million. All right, let's get up into the biggins now. All right, let's get up into the biggins. I'm not going to give you the range. I'm going to give you the high-end number. Okay, so I've given you the high-end number for all of these groups. Methodists. Let's see how Methodists are doing. Methodists account for 3 to 4% of the United States population. Methodists. There's about 13 million Methodists. So there are more Methodists than Presbyterians, and there are more Methodists than there are Jews and Muslims. Methodists coming in at 10 or 13 million. 13 million. What else do we have here? All right, next, Baptists. The Baptist army is going to be great. Aren't a lot of Baptist evangelicals? Kind of like, or is this black? Is this black? Is this black Baptists? I don't know, whatever. The Baptists, all traditions, says right here. All traditions of the Baptist Church account for about 15% of the religious population here in America. They're coming in, Baptists, 51 million. 51 million. That's pretty good. All right. And Baptists are 51 million. Here are the big two. The big two are Catholics and evangelical Protestants. These are the two that seem to be fighting right now, right? The evangelical Protestants. But again, I tell you, evangelical Protestants, they got a big number because they got no rules. That's the whole thing about that. That whole religion exists because somebody went, well, I could probably make some money talking about Jesus. And then all of a sudden, Catholic Church was too hard, too many traditions, too many hoops you got to jump through. Can't just go to a Catholic church like you can just go to an evangelical church. You got to somehow go through your commune. You got to be baptized. You got to be communed. You got to be confirmed. Holy fuck. There's like stages throughout life before they finally go, you're a Catholic. That ain't the deal. That's probably why there's a bigger commitment to it than you got in this crazy evangelical Protestant thing. Half the people are fucking making out with snakes. We love Jesus. Anyway. All right, so there you have it. Catholics, 71 million. Evangelical Protestants, 78 million. Baptists, 51 million. Methodists, 13 million. Jews, 7.5 million. Muslims, 4.1 million. Buddhists, 3.7 million. And Presbyterians, 9 million. There you go. Bring on the religious war. Besides, man, the Catholics have all kinds of cool churches. They're going to be awesome fortresses. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Your evangelical church, that used to be a movie theater. You know how many ways there are to get into there? They got fucking turrets at the Catholic Church. They're going to be up there dumping hot oil on your ass. They've been preparing for religious wars since the 10th century. All right, there you have it. Religious war coming because Trump wants to fight the Pope. Here, you know what we used to do? We were doing this last week or a couple of weeks ago. We were checking in on it because I became obsessed with the way Megyn Kelly dresses. We played a little game. What's Megyn Kelly wearing today? And she's I love when she wears her Catwoman outfit. Anyway, here's a little bit of Melon Kelly. That's funny, Melon Kelly. All right, let's see what she's wearing, first of all. Well, I kind of ruined it, right? Because I told you what she's wearing. She's wearing her Catwoman outfit, and you know how I like the Catwoman outfit. All right, here she is. Hold on. Pause it. Look at her right there. She's wearing sexy Catwoman outfit. Oh, she's such an ugly person inside, but so fucking hot outside. So beautiful. I think she's gorgeous, but I hate her. She's like so. Anyway, sexy Catwoman outfit today from the world's most ugly inside girl. Actually, she's not the most ugly inside girl. I think the most ugly inside girl that's on television is that Laura Ingraham chick. And unfortunately for her, she's not all that much better on the outside. So, all right, here's Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly wearing her Catwoman outfit. Let's see what she has to say about all this.
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D chess, shut up.
All right. Here's why I showed it. Didn't I say this exact same thing yesterday? I'm like, would you shut the fuck up about 3D chess? Why can't he just be normal? Isn't this how we all, I mean, this woman, she's been sucking his fucking grizzled bag for ever since he put her in her place. Remember during the first debate where he's like, you're bleeding your period from your face or whatever. I don't know. History will probably have to clean that up. I have no idea what it was exactly said, but it was something like really insulting. He put her in her place. And ever since then, this bitch has been slurping his balls. Well, Bloom is off the rose. Bloom is off the rose among a lot of the people who used to slurp his balls.
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human?
No!
I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D chess, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit. As you can imagine.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I completely agree. You're an awful person. You've been carrying water for this dick forever, and finally you've reached your limit. None of these people are willing to admit that they were duped. No, they all seem to be leaning into he's changed. We're like, what? He's changed? No, I guess it's easier for you to just rationalize it that he's changed rather than go, fuck, I'm really fucking dumb. Holy shit, I didn't see that at all. All the libtards in the office, they were telling me that I can't see it. I thought I was so right. You can't admit that. So he's got to change. So that's what it is. He's changed. No, he hasn't been this way the whole time. All right, I want to mention this. This is another thing, and I mean, we don't need to do again. It's the last thing. I'm going to take a big shit on the orange pumpkin. Remember Christy Nome's cool ass plane? Remember Christy Nome? Christy Nome requested a significant amount of money back when she was in charge of, I don't know, Super Bowl commercials. Wasn't that her job? She was secretary of Super Bowl commercials. All right, one of you need to make a Super Bowl commercial. Which one? And she stepped forward. She's no longer in charge of Super Bowl commercials. She got fired because her Super Bowl commercial fucking sucked. It's just as expensive. But you remember when she was doing that, she got a new plane. She's like, I need a plane. And they're like, why do you need a plane? And she's like, because we need to send dangerous MS-13 people back across the border and we can't put them on commercial air flights because they're all dangerous. And they're like, okay, that's actually a kind of understand. We can get behind that. All right, you can have your plane. So she got her plane. And then it turned out to be like a fucking penthouse in the sky. It had a bedroom. It was a luxury plane. She got the luxury package. So, they're not flying MS-13 people back in that plane. This is for her. She got a plane and she got us to pay for it. And she lied about what it was supposed to be used for. And, that was one of the big things that was thrown in her face when she had to testify in front of Congress there. Yeah, just she's so full of shit. Anyway, she's gone and the plane still exists. And what do you think? Think they're going to liquidate that plane? I don't know, maybe make a couple of, lunch programs for inner city schools with the money that they spent on that plane? No, they gave the plane to Melania. Just want you to know, Melania's got her own plane now. Melania, well, I know you were worried. You're like, how is Melania getting around? Well, they gave her a new plane. That's right. It has been confirmed here now. Let me see. I'll give you the details here. It says here, let's see, the first reports of blah, blah, blah. Melania Trump will have access to a luxury jet previously used by former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Following Kristi Noem's ouster from the DHS in March of 2026, the White House took control of the controversial aircraft. I bet they did. Shit. Well, Trump's got the Qatari plane. Oh, you know Melania's keeping this. This is not going to be something that she's going to get back. She's going to keep this. Melania got a plane. Holy fuck. Trump's got his Qatar Super Jumbo Jets Battlestar spaceship that they gave him. And now she's got Kristi Noem's sex plane. Reports that first, following Kristi Noem's ouster from the DHS in 2026, the White House took control of the controversial aircraft to be used for travel by Melania Trump's office. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that some intern's going to be using it. Details on the jet. Well, it's a Boeing 737 MAX 8. Big giant one. Was initially leased during Noem's tenure and was eventually purchased by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement for approximately $80 million. While originally justified as a tool for high-profile deportations, its lavish interior drew significant criticism from lawmakers and immigration hardliners. The jet's luxury amenities include a master bedroom with a queen-size bed, private showers, full kitchen and cocktail bar, 4 large flat-screen televisions, and a secluded media room. The interior design is by renowned New York designer Peter Marino. Well. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's what they're doing with your money. Yeah, that's what they're doing with your money. And I saw some fucking chumps posted something today. Here's what somebody posted today. Hey, just a reminder so all of you know, Donald Trump has never taken a penny of his paycheck for being president. That's the kind of man he is. And I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, because he's made like $2 billion in crypto nonsense. Manipulating markets and doing, oh, just stop it. Trump's never, remember that's his big benevolent thing. I'm giving my paycheck to, whatever. I don't even know what he gives his paycheck to. I'd also like to check on that. I don't think would you be surprised to learn that Trump actually has cashed all of his paychecks and that, this is just something people say? Because somebody said it once and they went, that's what he's doing now. And he may never have done it. Although I bet he has. Because again, the president's paycheck is nothing compared to the amount of money that he is looting from this country. Ugh. Artemis 2 update. Let's talk a little bit about Artemis 2. Artemis 2 is going to be splashing down tomorrow. We are heading into the most dangerous portion of this incredibly successful. Look, the Artemis 2 mission that we've been watching here now for a better part of a week, the Artemis 2 mission has been flawless. It has been toilet. We got shitter problems, okay? We got shitter problems. They're all using diapers because the shitter just does not work up there. They'll fix that. They'll fix that for Artemis 3 when we actually put people up there. It's been pretty flawless. It's been pretty great. Everything has worked. This is an incredibly good sign for future missions and all that kind of stuff. As I said, the shitter is the problem. But the most dangerous part of the flight is coming up, and that is reentry. Reentry is always the most dangerous because they're always using new stuff, and they're using new stuff again. We heard a lot about during the shuttle days, the heat shield in the black tiles that when you would watch shuttle landings back in the day, they would often show it as it first appeared in our atmosphere as it's coming down, and then the camera would zoom in on the heat shield underneath, and you would see that some were missing, and then there was great drama because it was like, well, how many of those heat shields can they lose? And still, they used to do that. Unfortunately, one time over Texas, that was worst case scenario. So anyway, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen on national TV. It's going to be televised everywhere. It's going to make re-entry tomorrow evening, Friday night. Tell you exactly the time. I think it's like 6:30 or something like that. Let's see here. What do we need to know? All right. So as far as today is kind of a blackout day. They're not really doing anything very publicly. What they're doing is they are preparing the ship. Well, I'll read it to you. They're preparing the ship for re-entry, which means they've got a, like I said, this thing's like a Subaru. Its car's like a Subaru from the 1970s, the late 70s. You got to like pull out, you got to rearrange the chair, depending on what you're doing. Like for re-entry, they got to completely rearrange all the furniture and the chairs and all that. So that's the stuff that they're doing today. Artemis crew updates. As of Thursday, April the 9th, the Artemis 2 crew is spending their final full day in space preparing the Orion. That's the spacecraft they're in. Artemis 2 is the mission. It's the name of the mission. The ship that they're in is Orion. Let's see here. The preparing the Orion spacecraft for its return journey. The mission is on track for a splashdown off the coast of San Diego, Friday, April 10th, 7:07 Central Time. All right, that's what we're looking for. Tomorrow at 7:07, it is going to make re-entry, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna be fine. So what else do we have here? The crew today. The crew is focused on stowage management. That's what today is called. Today is Stowage Management Day. And what is stowage management? Well, it's exactly what I just told you. They got to put everything away because they're getting ready to re-enter. They got to reposition the seats and all that stuff. Final preparations. Activities today include donning compression garments to help their bodies adjust to gravity, and securing the Orion cabin couches. I don't know what that means. Couches. Mission briefing. NASA will hold a status in a final briefing at 3:30 p.m. today from the Johnson Space Center. A live event is scheduled at 7:35 Eastern Time today. A critical trajectory correction burn is set for 10:53, 9:53 Central Time tonight. All right, there you have it. So there's really nothing. Now we're just gonna wait for re-entry and splashdown. It says here, re-entry officially will begin tomorrow at 7:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So 6:53 our time, Central. That's when it will begin. It says Orion will reach the Earth's outer atmosphere 7:53. Splashdown, the water landing is expected at 8:07. So think about that. Think about how far it is. Think about how far away it is. Because it is falling at supersonic speeds directly to the ground. It's going to first punch through at 7, I'll do it for our time. It's going to first punch through at 6:53, and it's not going to splash down until 8:07. That's 14 minutes. That's free falling for 14 minutes. Jesus, that's a long way. They're really high up there. Oh my God, look at that. The world is a big place. It says you can track Orion's real-time distance and speed by using the NASA Artemis real-time orbiter tracker. I'm going to pass on that. All right, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break here. Look at us. We've already done almost 2 hours, although because of the screw-up in the early parts of the show, we've probably only done an hour and a half. Give me a quick break. Got to go to the bathroom. Fresh cup of coffee. We'll come back one more time. Please be reminded, today is one of the final 2 days of our pledge week. We need to raise X amount of dollars. Please help us out if you haven't. Mama B's our executive producer because she helped out. She tipped the largest yesterday. So today we like to say a big thank you to her. Everybody who's helped tip this week. I hope I got your names down there scrolling. I appreciate all of you. I can count on all of you. There are still some people out there that, I would say, there's still more coming. So please help us out. It is Pledge Week. Drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App, and we certainly will appreciate that. I got to take a quick break, okay? Going to the bathroom. Going to fill up my cup of coffee. Give me about 5 minutes, okay? That's what we'll do. 5 minutes. Back after this. right, here we go. Welcome back. Who did I lose? Did I lose a bunch of people? I probably did. That took a little bit longer than I thought. We are back. Part 2, we'll call this, of the rant for today, Thursday, the 9th day of April, 2026. We've covered all the heavy stuff, no fun stuff. So now let's have some fun. Let's do some funner stories. Like, let's start by kicking the shit out of the first lady. Yeah, see, you thought I would do something totally different. No, I'm dialed in today. Melania Trump is making headlines today. Actually, she's making some breaking news headlines right now, and we'll get into that. But we were already going to talk about Melania Trump because for some reason, she is wickedly unpopular in this country. There are 0 polls that I think are out there right now that will say that people like her. She's underwater is the term. And we'll get into all of that. We'll figure out, what that might be, and we'll show you these numbers, how she compares to other first ladies at this particular time. And by this particular time, I mean 1 year into a second term. So obviously, you just got to look at all the 2-term first ladies. So you got Nancy Reagan, Nancy Reagan, Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, and Laura Bush. How does Melania Trump compare to their popularity, their polling at the very same time in their husband's second term? All right, so we'll get into that. But the big breaking Melania news, we just told you about how she got a new plane. Hey. They took Kristi Noem's fuck jet away from her and they gave it to Melania. So now Melania will be able to have all of her affairs in a beautiful plane, 30,000 feet above the earth. But she is making news right now because apparently, is this earlier today? Did she release this? Melania Trump made a statement about Epstein. Yeah, Donnie won't talk about it. Donnie's mad at everybody who brings it up. So do you think he's mad at Melania now? Why won't you let it go? Why did you have to bring it up? Here we go. This is Melania Trump. She's denying a relationship, saying she never had a relationship with Epstein, which, by the way, let's make something clear here. So there was a story that said that Donald Trump met Melania through Jeffrey Epstein. That was a story that was circulated years ago, but it's, it always comes back. It's like, well, Melania was one of them sex chicks that Epstein was running with. That story is absolutely not true. That is not true. However, there is some truth to it. Trump was with Epstein when he met Melania. That's apparently true. That at whatever event this was, Trump was there with his good old buddy Epstein. So anyway, there's been a lot of talk about, Melania's relationship with Epstein and how close were Melania and Epstein. And well, here she is doing the one thing her husband doesn't want, talking about Epstein. I guess this is from earlier today. At least it's being presented as breaking news. Here we go.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time. Since overlapping.
All right, so what's just right there? That's the latest thing that, remember I told you that it's not true. Epstein didn't introduce Melania to Trump. Epstein didn't present Melania to Trump as one of his new acquisitions. I took over a girls' school in Eastern Europe. Here is my newest acquisition. That's not true. Oh, that's how Trump haters tried to position it. But what apparently is true is that they were all at a party together. And I think that's what she's referring to here in the beginning. We were both invited to the same party. It's just a coincidence. Whether you believe in coincidences or not, whatever. But she's being forced to address it, which bothers her husband because he didn't want anybody talking about this anymore.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time. Since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more.
Her what to Maxwell? What did she say? Man, I can't wait until we got an American First Lady who speaks English again. Is that too much to ask? Okay, I don't mean that. I'm just trying to be a dick. Because that's the kind of thing a dick would say. Here we go.
Than casual correspondence.
Hold on, wait, what is she saying? What is she saying again about her and Epstein?
Categorized as anything more.
Hold on.
Or his accomplice, Maxwell.
Okay. Hold on.
My email reply to Maxwell.
My emailed reply to Maxwell? Is that what she's saying? My emailed reply to Maxwell. Okay, maybe that's it.
Cannot accomplice Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence.
All right, my email reply to Maxwell cannot be anything more than correspondence. Okay.
My polite
And the rest of us ain't talking to no sex trafficker. So, that's something you got to answer for.
reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim.
Should you say trivial? It's trivial, right? It's written as trivial. It's written as trivial, and she's like, trivial? I don't know this word. Donald.
Epstein did not introduce doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note.
Trivial. Okay.
I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump.
I love that she's gotta set this record straight. I just want to make sure you guys know, because we're probably getting a divorce here in a couple of months, and I'm gonna be going back out there, and I hope to really sort of reclaim some position for myself and distance myself from all the horrors. And before we do that, I just want you to know I was not trafficked by Epstein. Want to make that clear. Meanwhile, Donald's sitting right now in a bathrobe watching this in like the Lincoln bedroom, screaming at the TV. Why are you bringing it up? Why are you? Because this is her. She wants the record straight. Her husband does not want her bringing this up. This is going to be a major news story tonight. Everybody's going to be talking about this. He did not want this. He just pretended to settle a war in order to get people to stop talking about this. And now his wife gets trotted out and she's like, I got to say something.
I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998.
And Epstein was there.
This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania.
Yeah, but we don't believe that shit.
The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met.
Okay, well, you can be at the same party before this, because that's what she's trying to say. I was at a party, Donald got invited to parties, we got invited to the same parties, and Epstein was there. What she's saying here is that she may have been at parties with Epstein at the same party, but she didn't know him. There were probably hundreds of people there. She didn't talk to him. The first time that she ever talked to, and this is what Melania is spinning here, the first time she ever met or talked to Epstein was when she was already dating Donald. She and Donald then went to a party together that Epstein was at. And she's saying the first time that she ever talked to him, which I doubt that. Epstein seemed like a bit of a perv. I think she is a undeniably gorgeous woman, and she sure as fuck was gorgeous 26 years ago. So I promise you that Epstein probably talked to her.
Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false.
All right. I will be cautious. That's why I didn't see your stupid fucking movie. I am cautious about what I believe. All right, so there you have it. Melania Trump apparently making notes today, making a note of the fact that she just wanted to set the record straight. She decided everybody should know that she is not a victim of Epstein. She was not introduced to Trump through Epstein, but they were at the same parties, and that is true. So even with the most crazy thing that these Trump haters will put out there, and don't think that everything negative said about Trump is true. We want to believe it because everything could be, because he is really bad. Anything is possible. But the Trump haters know this. So they take a little bit of truth and then they explode it into something. And then all the stupids on the left go crazy about it. I don't believe for 1 minute that she was, trafficked by Epstein. I actually believe her story there. She was a hot model chick in New York. Hot model chicks in New York get invited to parties where dudes like Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are all the time. So I do believe her story. I don't think she's a good person. I think she's a terrible person. And you know what? The rest of America agrees. Because the next part of this story, and we were going to talk about her not only in that she got a new plane. That's right. She's been given Kristi Noem's taxpayer sex jet. That's now Melania's as of last night. She thanked her husband for the jet. She thanked him by going out and talking about Epstein, something that he's been trying to avoid for the past, since starting a war with Iran. But that's not why we were going to talk about her. We were going to talk about her because this, here, we got some numbers here. I want to show you this. This comes from CNN. This is that guy, Harry Enton, who I like. He's like the most Jewish man in New York. Oh my God. He's so funny. He's I'll tell you, I don't know. Let's look at the numbers. He's like that guy, but he's only like 25 and he's already that guy. He's going to be a great old Jewish man. I can't wait for it. Anyway, he showed us this. This was this morning, I guess, on CNN. He's doing it with my favorite CNN person. It's official. I now have an official favorite CNN person, and it's Kate Baldwin. Kate Baldwin I just love her so much. She is so fun. Like, she knows her shit. Like, Kate Baldwin can do real news and shit, but also when it gets a little fun, there ain't nobody better than Kate Baldwin. Anyway, here's Kate Baldwin. She's with Harry Enton, and this is, if I can get it to play. Okay. Okay, can't get it to play. We want to go over these numbers, and I want to talk about what these numbers are probably reflecting, but I can't get it to play. See, it won't play. See, it's play. It's like hit
what
play.
Do you see
there we go.
About Melania Trump and how her polling is shifting?
Yeah, I would say that the American people really don't care for Melania.
All right, there's a moment here. I want you to focus on this moment because Harry Enton says, the guy on the right, well, obviously, Harry Enton says, the American people really don't like Melania Trump. He says it. He states it outright. Look at Kate's reaction. I love her reaction. She like winces. She's like, oh, and then she immediately looks over at her producer who's off to her left. I love it. I don't know. I just like Kate. She's cool.
Trump. Take a look at this.
Hold on, watch it again.
All right,
Here
let's take a look
about Melania Trump and how her polling is shifting.
Yeah, I would say that the American people really don't care for Melania Trump. Take a look at this. All right, let's take a look at Melania.
Look at her. She's like looking over at her producer. She's like, he's going hard. This is going to be one of them hard ones. I like the look before it too. Anyway, she's great. Let's listen to the numbers now. The popularity of our first lady.
Say that the American people really don't care for Melania Trump. Take a look at this. All right, let's take a look at Melania Trump's net favorable ratings. Look at this. The lowest ever. The lowest ever. We're talking about now 12 points underwater. If you go back a little bit more than a year ago,
all right, so let's look at this. All right, so in May of 2018, she was plus 30. And we're going to see the numbers. That's about where, most first ladies hover. And most people don't have great ire for our first ladies. They don't represent something that is necessarily directly associated with the husband. We cut first ladies a lot of slack from time to time, and they maintain their popularity. Or, at the very least, they're not hated. They're not in the negative. So in May of 2018, Melania was was plus 30. Pretty good. January of 2025, plus 3. That's not good. That's very low for a first lady. It's It's still above water, as he likes to say. But +3 is not good. That's 1 year ago, January in 2025. She's now, according to this, -12. She is -12. Her likability is -12.
He was 3 points above water. You go back at this point, about this point in term number 1 for Donald Trump. Look at that. She was 30 points above water. So at this point, historic lows for Melania Trump. These numbers are absolutely awful.
One of the questions is why the shift now? But also, I guess, just looking, you need to look at this always in the historical context of how does she line up against other first ladies?
Yeah, okay. If we look at this historically, the worst ever at this point in term number 2. Look at this. We got her at 12 points underwater. Look at the rest of these first ladies on the board right here. They're all way above water. 42 points above water for Michelle Obama, 46 above water for Laura Bush, 25 points above water for Hillary Clinton, who
even Hillary Clinton, who was absolutely burned at the stake by every guy on the right with a microphone, +25. Now, here's the thing about Hillary Clinton. She ran her mouth. Hillary Clinton took policy positions. Hillary Clinton was an active member of that administration. She was hated, and she is still +25. At the exact same time, in her husband's second term, Melania is -12. Think about that. If you live in a bubble where Melania is America's princess, get out of your bubble. Because here's the other thing that I find interesting about these numbers about Melania. Let's compare her again to Hillary Clinton, who at this time was, according to this, +25 in popularity polls. I said Hillary Clinton had policy positions. Hillary Clinton ran her mouth. Hillary Clinton had opinions. Melania's got none of that shit. Melania doesn't make statements or put out press. Melania is quiet. She's uncomfortable speaking because she doesn't speak English as a first language. People just hate her. It's her vibe. It's the energy. It's people see her and they're like, oh my God. Do you remember when she dressed like the Hamburglar? When she wore that weird hat and like the evil Cruella de Vil type outfit? She just rubs people the wrong way. People like me who judge you on the way you present and the way you characterize yourself, and the way, there's all these little tells. People like me are looking at her and going, no. Let's keep watching this. Let's see if there's
was not always most popular, and 50 points above water for Michelle Obama, 46 above water for Laura Bush, 25 points above water for Hillary Clinton, who was not always most popular, and 50 points above water for Nancy Reagan. And I even looked at Joe Biden's numbers at this point in that presidency. Of course, that was term 1. She was above water as well. So this is the
So even Jill Biden, and they didn't include her because these are only 2-term first ladies at this point in their second term. So don't be like, why aren't they showing Jill Biden? Because there's only 1 term. Get it? But he did point out that even her, she was above water. I like Joe Biden. I never got that. Like, I understand not liking Joe Biden, but what the fuck did Jill Biden ever do that made you fucking monsters hate her? She's just a lady. She's just a school teacher. You guys are dicks, man.
Worse at this point in a presidency as well. Melania Trump breaking records in the way that you don't want to break records. Historically awful she is. The American people really don't care for her.
And you also, I'm saying you have new numbers or another look at the impact or the appeal that her appeal after her documentary came out.
Yeah, okay. So you asked in question number 1, you said why? What is one of the reasons why? And I think one of the reasons why was...
By the way, I didn't see this part, but I hope they go into the numbers, because do you remember when Melania came out and everybody said that it was going to be a bomb, and then all of the church groups and the MAGA groups pre-ordered tickets for the opening weekend, and they brought busloads of people, and they all saw the movie. And Melania did not have a disastrous first weekend the way most people predicted. It had a disastrous second weekend, and by the third weekend, it was gone from theaters, and it is still a massive bomb. That movie cost like $75 million just in the promotion. I mean, there was so much more that went into that movie. $75 million was what was spent on the promotion of that movie. The Melania movie made like 10 million, maybe 15. I don't know, something like that. I hope they go into the numbers. Okay. That movie was a fucking bomb. You people all told yourself, by you people, I mean MAGA. You all told yourself that it was a hit because you fucking ginned the system on opening weekend. But then you guys already saw it. You weren't going to go see it a second time because it was trash. It was propaganda. People hate this woman. Here we go. Let's see. Does he give us the number? Please give us the numbers.
This documentary, I think a lot of people saw it as political, even if she didn't want it to be. And I think one of the reasons why was this documentary. I think a lot of people saw it as political, even if she didn't want it to be. And you could just see it here. This is real world data. This is not just the polling data that shows the lack of appeal, historic lack of appeal that she has for a first lady. Look at this. Some of Melania's budget sheet. Look at this. The budget, rights and marketing, $75 million. That was what is estimated.
That's not the full film budget. I'm glad that they pointed that out. $75 million is the number that they keep putting out there. That rights and marketing, that was just what they paid the Trumps and then what they paid for commercials to promote it. That doesn't cover anything. Travel expenses, the cruise that had to all be put up in hotels and flown to these places where they followed her around. It's far more than 75 million, but that's the number that Bezos, I guess, was comfortable allowing made public.
To have been spent by Amazon. Compare that to the box office, both domestic and international combined. We're talking about 17 million. That makes this a bomb.
Okay, so maybe he'll do it. We got a couple of seconds here. The truly stunning thing about the movie Melania is when you look at the global box office. Like 99.9% of the pennies that were spent on that movie came in America from group purchases. It did nothing globally. Nobody anywhere else in the world went and saw this fucking movie.
There was a lot of talk when the film came out. Hey, it had a good opening weekend, but then basically it stopped making money. So unless Amazon is able to make this up through streaming, this is going to be a historic bomb. Amazon spent a ton of money on it. And look at that. Simply put, the money was not made back. That coalesces, that combines with the polling data to say that Melania Trump is historically unpopular for a first lady.
So interesting.
All right, not that that matters. Who cares about the first ladies? But again, I told you about that movie. You don't you be worried about Bezos. That was a loss leader for him. He spent that money knowing that, making that movie for her and for Donald was going to help Blue Origin. That's what this is about. This is about space contracts. This is about getting government money for the private space industry, which is another thing that Bezos is a part of. The whole Blue Origin thing. He's competing with Musk and all of that. So how does Bezos and Blue Origin get on good footing with the president? Well, first he fires the entire editorial and reporting staff at the Washington Post. That was the first thing he did. Second thing he did was he made this glommy fucking movie about his wife. So 75 million to Bezos is nothing, especially when we were talking about $1 trillion government contracts for future space exploration. That's what this is about. Keeping the big man baby fucking, in your corner, I guess. All right, there you go. That's the Melania stuff. Is there anything else with Melania? No, other than the jet. Yeah, she got the jet too. All right, let's see. What else can we do here? Oh, let's do this. We'll do some regional insults. This will be fun. All right. So I told you yesterday I had this really fun phone call with my son and his mom, and they were having a discussion over at their house yesterday. Apparently, my ex-wife, my son's mother, who she was born and raised in the St. Louis region. She's actually from Illinois, but well, how does that work? Well, because the river is about fucking 10 feet wide. Seriously, the Mississippi is not as impressive as you think. It is impressive. I mean, okay, when you look at it on a map, it's impressive. But when you're actually looking at it, you're like, this is the Mississippi River? There are some parts where it's impressive. Anyway, she lives on the Illinois side, she was raised just across from St. Louis on the Illinois side. You see St. Louis, from the river, all that stuff. Anyway, so she's from the St. Louis region, even though she's from Illinois. And she referred to our shared son as a dirt leg. She said, "What are you, a dirt leg?" And my son was like, that's racist. All right. Now, I don't think he really meant that it was, I think he was just being funny, but he said that's racist. And she got up, she's like, racist? And he's like, yeah, you can't call someone that. Besides, you're just making that up. He had never heard the term dirt leg, the derogatory, you're a dirt leg, never heard it before. So somehow I got roped into it. So they ended up calling me to see if I had ever heard of the term dirt leg. So it was presented as, hey, like first it's my son who's calling me. So I look at my phone, I think it's my son. And so I answer it. I'm like, oh, hey, I start talking about something because I was actually about to call him. I was actually in the process of saying, oh my God, I can't believe you called me. I was just about to call. And before I could get that out, I heard my ex-wife in the background, right? I'm on speaker. And she goes, hey, I got to ask you a question. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This won't be good. I'm only saying it because, although our relationship is wonderful, we were really cool. We've worked it out, right? Let all the other people have their fights when they're handing off kids and all of that. I'm quite proud of the fact that we're a nice little unit here. So anyway, usually when I get this phone call, it's because, the kid's stealing weed again or something that it's going to ruin the next couple hours of my night. But this wasn't it. Occasionally it's fun too. And it was fun last night. And she's like, hey, wait, before you get into that, I just need to know, have you ever heard the term dirt leg? And my son then chimes in and goes, Mom called me a dirt leg. And I go, what? I go, I don't know what a dirt leg is. I've never heard of that. And then everybody on their side, which included stepdad, they all started laughing. They're all like, you made it up. Because apparently everybody in the house was saying that my ex-wife made this term up. I guess she thought that maybe I could confirm it as a term. I could not. I had never heard the phrase dirt leg. So then my son brought up jagoff, which is a term that he uses. He calls everybody jagoffs. And I think it's really cool because jagoff is another term that people don't know. Jagoff is Jagoff. It's not jack off and it's not jerk off. It's jagoff. I've talked about it before. It is a regional insult. So we did a little research and we come to find out that dirt leg is in fact a real established insult. And it's said by a lot of people. And lo and behold, look at that. It is a regional St. Louis slang. So dirt leg, if you get called a dirt leg in St. Louis, you may not know what it is, but the people there do. Okay, so jagoff regional to Chicago. Turns out jagoff is regional to Chicago and Pittsburgh. They're the only two cities in America that regularly call others jagoffs. It's not a sexual term. It has nothing to do with jerk off or jack off or whatever. It has to do with it's an old Irish Scottish term, a jag, a J-A-G, in the parlance of that region back in old timey days. A jag is a prick. A jag is something that is on a rose bush, a rose thorn, right? So if you're moving through rose bushes, you don't get pricked in their language. You get jagged. So you get jagged. Oh, I got jagged. Oh, the jag got me. That's what it means. It means to be pricked. It means to be made uncomfortable. So when you call somebody a jagoff, what you're saying is they're being irritating. You're being a jagoff. It's not as rough as it sounds, but only people in Chicago and Pittsburgh seem to know that. Little kids can say jagoff because it's not. It just means you're being irritating. Regional. So I wondered, what are some other regional? And I'm wondering, the chat room, you people are from other places. Are there any insults? Are there any sort of, things that you used maybe growing up? I'm not talking about you Gen Xers. I don't need you all going fag. We used to say fag. Nobody says fag anymore. Retard. We used to say, no, those are not regional insults. Those are just insults that nice people don't use anymore for obvious social reasons. So I went and I looked up a couple of these examples, and I want you guys in the chat room, if you're from anywhere else or if you've spent time anywhere else and you know of any of these weird regional insults, I'd love to hear the ones that you got. But I've compiled a few, and I thought I'd share regional insults. All right, here we go. Here we'll start out in St. Louis again, because there is a dual meaning here. I am here. These are some Midwestern ones, and then we'll move around the country. But here in the Midwest, I'm in Illinois. I am sandwiched between Missouri and Indiana. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one first because this is a term that it's either complimentary if you're in Indiana, or it is a very big insult if you're in Missouri, the St. Louis area. And that is Hoosier. Hoosier. Hoosier in the St. Louis region, unlike Indiana, is a deep insult for someone perceived as white trash. I think that's got to be an Indiana thing. That's got to be Missouri people thinking they're better than Indiana, so they have taken the Indiana term of Hoosier, which is a term of affection for people from Indiana. He's a good guy. He's a fellow Hoosier. That's how they use it over there. In St. Louis, they use Hoosier. You're a Hoosier, meaning you're white trash. Oh, God. Bunch of Hoosiers moved into the neighborhood. All right, regional. The next one, look at this. The next one is jagoff. Jagoff, Pittsburgh and Chicago, a classic term for a jerk or someone who is being annoying. Yeah, irritating. Someone who's being annoying. While it sounds vulgar to outsiders, locals use it as a general disparagement that isn't necessarily considered obscene. That's why kids are allowed to say jagoff. All right, here's another one from the Midwest, a youper. Now, I've heard this because I spend a lot of time there, but boy, oh boy, if you're from the Michigan, Wisconsin region and you call somebody a youper, that's an insult. What is a youper? Well, a youper is somebody who identifies as being from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. UP, the Upper Peninsula, a youper. Those are the people, when you look at a map of Michigan, you forget how big Michigan is because half of Michigan is not attached to the rest of Michigan. Michigan looks like a boxing glove, right? Michigan, it looks like a boxing glove. But then when you look at a map, what you don't realize is that right at the top of the boxing glove, there's a whole nother part of the state, and that's called the Upper Peninsula. And if you're from there, you're a youper, and everybody hates you. Everybody hates you. All right, let's move to the Northeast. Here's a fairly common one. We've heard it because we've probably seen this used in movies and TV, but it's very common in New England, and it is, of course, masshole. Masshole. If you are a masshole, if you live in Maine, you might call people massholes. If you live in New Hampshire, you might call people massholes. A masshole is somebody from Massachusetts who thinks they're the most important thing in New England. That is a masshole. Here's one I've never heard before. A herb. Have you ever heard of a herb? That guy's a real herb. I've never heard this. I've never heard this in movies. I've never heard this anywhere. And you think you would, because apparently it is common in New York City. A herb. Used to describe someone who's uncool, soft, or a loser who doesn't fit into the city's streetwise ways. That's a herb. If you're in New York, somebody calls you a herb, that's not good. Or how about a Benny? New Jersey. If you're from New Jersey, or if you go to New Jersey and somebody calls you a Benny, that's an insult. We used to call people Bennies in school, but a Benny was a term for a freshman. If you were a freshman, you were a Benny. I don't know what the origin or the etymology of that is, but in the 80s, when you were a freshman, yeah, man, I chased a bunch of Bennies home. Like that was the way it was used. In Jersey, if you're called a Benny, that means that you are somebody from Bayonne, Elizabeth, New York, or Newark. And locals use it to mock tourists to the Jersey Shore. So if you're from one of those places and you come down to the shore, the real Jersey people, they're going to call you a Benny. A Benny. You're from Bayonne, Elizabeth, New York, or Newark. One of those places. All right, let's get to the South. All right, here's the South. Here's one that I realized very quickly upon moving to Texas because a lot of people said it, most notably one of our advertisers who's had himself a bit of a rough time recently. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. This is a sign to the Deep South. It's perhaps the most famous covert insult. While it sounds sweet, it's frequently used to imply that the recipient is remarkably stupid, naive, or pitiable. Bless your heart. Texas, they say Deep South. I think I'm most associated with Texas, but okay, we'll give it to the full Deep South. How about this one? This comes to us from Florida. Jit. J-I-T. He's a jit. Common in South and Central Florida, it is used to describe a younger person who is acting tough, foolish, or out of line. Jit, is that like idiot? Is that like idiot? Like I've heard idiot for idiot. Idiot, is that it? I don't know. Anyway, how about yat? New Orleans. We're staying in the South. Yat, Y-A-T, derived from the greeting, where ya at? It can be used as a derogatory label for a specific working class dialect and a culture that is seen as uncultured. All right, so if you refer to someone in New Orleans as a yat, he's a yat. That means he's less than you. He's somebody trash. All right, let's move to the Mid-Atlantic because these are some fun ones. The Mid-Atlantic used to be very, very influential. Do you guys know about the Mid-Atlantic accent? There is no such thing as the Mid-Atlantic accent, but this is a fascinating bit of American popular culture. There was a time in this country where a great many of the most famous people in this nation utilized a pretentious accent that wasn't real. It was known as the Mid-At. The Mid-At language, it's dead now. It doesn't exist, but it was Mid-Atlantic. It was placed in the Mid-Atlantic. It wasn't real. Nobody actually talked this way, but there was a perception that people from this Mid-Atlantic region were somehow more cultured, and therefore, when presenting people from this region, they were often given this fake accent. And the people there then began to use the fake accent. It was never a natural accent, but I'm going to blow your mind now because you all know the accent, and now you never hear it anywhere. The Mid-Atlantic accent, an accent that was never real, was created by an acting coach in New York City back in the 1920s. And at the advent of films, that films were seen as less than stage, right? So the theater is real. Oh, if you were poor and you didn't understand culture, you might go to one of those Nickelodeons. Or that's how it was during the advent of film. So early film producers used this particular acting coach. Remember the one who invented the fake fucking language, the fake dialect, the fake accent? They used this person because this acting coach was teaching their actors how to speak in a way that seemed sophisticated. Every black and white movie from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s features actors who are using this phony Mid-Atlantic accent. Yeah, see? Katharine Hepburn. Have you ever listened to Katharine Hepburn and you're like, what the fuck accent is that? That's Mid-Atlantic. That's phony. That is not a real accent. Cary Grant. Cary Grant's from fucking England. Cary Grant has an English accent. Yet when you hear him in early movies, you're like, what fucking accent is that? That's the Mid-Atlantic accent. And it's phony. And it's an accent that people thought was real, but it wasn't. It was created by an acting coach so that actors in early films could appear more sophisticated and therefore not lesser than their theatrical counterparts. All right, so that's the Mid-Atlantic accent. Now, let me tell you a little bit of some Mid-Atlantic terms. Here you go. Here's one. He's a real crumb bum. He's a real crumb bum, that one. Crumb bum, a favorite of legendary Philadelphia Mayor Frank Rizzo. This refers to a loser or a lowlife, a crumb bum. Here's another one that's popular, but only because, wrestling brought it back. But another Mid-Atlantic slang for somebody. He's a real jabroni. A jabroni. Popularized by wrestling. The Rock, right? Wasn't that The Rock's thing? The term jabroni is short for a poser or a nobody. It is deeply rooted in Italian-American Philadelphia region. All right, there we go. That's it. We're done. All right, we just did the fun regional slangs. Dirt leg, St. Louis. Jagoff, Pittsburgh and Chicago. Crumb bum, Mid-Atlantic, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Rhode Island. Is Rhode Island Mid-Atlantic? I don't know. Maybe it is. Who knows? All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. Here's a story. Here's a story for those of you who think you can drive high. So DUI, they got that shit down. You've had a couple of beers, they can make you blow into a thing, and they're like, yeah, you've had a couple of beers. Don't lie to me. DUI, they got it down. Weed, what about somebody who's intoxicated or not intoxicated? Because I do think there's a difference. Impaired. I think you are impaired. I think that when we talk about, I don't even know if this is still the case. But when we talk about marijuana, I think that a lot of people enter the discussion on marijuana with only an understanding of alcohol. I think that when people talk about, well, what does that marijuana do? I think a lot of these people have never smoked marijuana. They have no idea of what the intoxication is. All they know is I got drunk once and I didn't like it. They think it's the same intoxication, and anybody who has smoked marijuana knows it's a completely different kind of intoxication. But it is an intoxication. And whereas I don't think that being a little high is as dangerous on the road as being a little drunk, because again, there are two different intoxications. Being high, if I'm being honest, will probably make you a better driver because you will be way more dialed into everything. You will be focused. When you're drunk, you're lazy. When you're drunk, you're lazy. And that's when, but the intoxications themselves, the way we feel when we are drunk as opposed to the way we feel when we are high, are two completely different things. But I do believe that you probably shouldn't drive high either, because you are intoxicated, I guess. So anyway, they can figure out if you're drunk on the road. But now with legalized marijuana, you got a lot more people out there driving around high. You can tell when someone's high. I can anyway. I think I can tell when someone's drunk. I can tell when someone's not normal. Anyway, the problem has always been that there was no truly accurate or way to be able to test on the roadside for marijuana. Not instantly, not as easily as you can with breathalyzer. Well, that's all changing because we got a whole new invention that was just put out, and the federal government has funded it. Funded it because they're going to make money. They're now going to be able to write tickets for people being high, cash register and all that. Federally funded study reveals that marijuana breathalyzer breakthrough with 3D printed roadside tool will be able to detect THC more effectively than any other in the past. All right, so apparently we got 3D printers involved, which is good because not every police department's going to be able to afford a 3D printer. Let's learn about this. There's been a new breakthrough in the development of a marijuana breathalyzer with a study partly funded by the Justice Department showing a potential pathway for a portable low-cost device that looks like an inhaler for asthma, built with 3D printed material that can detect Delta-9 THC without secondary lab analysis. The study, led by Emmanuel Alves at Virginia Commonwealth University, detailed the results of experiments meant to address the current lack of roadside impairment tests for THC, similar to those utilized by law enforcement for people suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol. With more states legalizing cannabis, there's particular need for rapid, reliable, and low-cost roadside tools, they say. By using 3D printed cartridges with a fast blue dye and gelatin system, about if they're going to be able to do it or not. Overall, this project established foundational data supporting the feasibility of portable, low-cost, colorimetric tool for detecting cannabinoids using 3D printed cartridges and readily accessible reagents, the study says. Seriously, though, the good news is 3D printing shit is really expensive, and your local police department will not be able to afford it. They just won't. You know what? We're going to skip the Billy Corgan shapeshifter story. Yeah, we are. Absolutely are. We'll do it tomorrow. We will get to Billy Corgan shapeshifting story and how I myself may have some kind of experience with a shapeshifter. We'll do that tomorrow. I didn't see a shapeshifter. I'm not going to say that. Something weird happened. Just something weird happened. I'll tell the story. I got no evidence. Just something weird happened and I ran. That's all. I ran. I did. I ran from it. There was an opportunity for me to be, supposedly, we're going to give you the experience of a lifetime. You sure you want to do this? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I ran. I was like, nope. So I'll tell you all about that when we get into the larger story of Billy Corrigan, and Billy Corrigan believes that he had sex with a shapeshifter. It's a great story. It's a great story. So we'll do that one. What I'm going to leave you with here, I'm going to leave you with this Michael J. Fox story, because this is very sad. Apparently yesterday, CNN announced that Michael J. Fox had died. CNN put out a story. Oh, it was beautiful. It was a memorandum. It was all about, we've missed the life of Michael J. Fox. CNN has now apologized after erroneously reporting that beloved star Michael J. Fox had died yesterday. See, they apologized. They got it wrong. Now, I can tell you how this happened. I can tell you how this happened because I've been here. I'm going to pull the curtain back on some news for you. I'm going to let you know how they do these things. But first, let me give you the story. Beloved actor Michael J. Fox, a prominent advocate for Parkinson's disease research, is alive and doing great, according to his representatives. The actor spoke out following a CNN article and video titled "Remembering the Life of Actor Michael J. Fox," despite no other reports that the actor was anything but thriving. CNN's post has since been taken down, but not before being captured by TMZ, who reported the news yesterday. TMZ put up a thing. It says, "Exclusive, Michael J. Fox is alive despite concerns after CNN's post." All right, so CNN, so look, here's what happened. So, posting. There's some guy that makes $20 an hour who works at CNN who's just, okay, hit post, hit send. What else you got? Hit post, hit send. He's not reading all the articles. He's just doing it. It's his job. He's an intern. He's a producer. He's low level, Sometimes he gets to pee at the urinal next to, Anderson Cooper, and that's cool. Tells his friend about that. Peed next to Anderson Cooper again. And he's got one buddy who's like, "Did he look?" And he's like, "Stop it. It's not like that. He's gay, but he's not a pervert." Anyway, so there are people who post these stories for CNN all day long. Now, here's the dark, macabre truth about all of this stuff, and I know because I've been a part of these. So when you are a young producer in a newsroom or a media organization, from time to time, you will have a meeting about who's probably going to die. I'm not kidding. You have the who's going to die, because these are all things that you can get ahead of. So, like in the case of Michael J. Fox, here's what I promise you. Every news station in America has put together a Michael J. Fox reel. They're just waiting for him to die, and they got it up on a shelf, and it's all ready to go. Now, I say I know this because I did this for both Frank Sinatra, who wouldn't die, Frank Sinatra and Frank Zappa. Oh, the Franks, look at that. I did it for both of them. Now, Frank Sinatra was a problem because Frank Sinatra was sick, and then, so Frank Sinatra got sick. He went to a hospital. So we had a meeting. They're like, "Hey, Frank Sinatra's going to probably not last much longer. He's in a hospital. Pugs, we need you to get together. You need to make a Frank Sinatra in memorandum reel." So I go off to a studio. He's alive. It's just in the news that he's sick. So I'm like, all right, got to make this because he could die at any minute. He lived for like another 2 years. For 2 years, I'm looking at the Frank Sinatra memorial reel, and I'm like, Did the same thing with Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa, who was a friend of the show, who was a friend of my host, and was a regular on the show, and, all of his friends. He was sick for a while, and nobody knew about it. Frank Zappa didn't make it public, except Kevin, my host, Kevin Matthews. He knew about it, and he's like, "Look, Uncle Frank," he's called him Uncle Frank. He's like, "Look, Uncle Frank is really sick, and he's probably not going to make it. So we are the show in town that is all about Zappa. So we're going to have to be ready. So I need you to get on it." And I put together a killer Frank Zappa death reel, and he lived for like another 6 months. So these things happen. It's dark, but you want to stay ahead of it. So you make things like, I promise you that all the news organizations have a Trump has died video that they've already made. And the minute it happens, they will slam it, and you'll be like, "Wow, that's a really nice tribute. I wonder how they got it together so quickly." Well, because they did it like 10 years ago. It's just been sitting there waiting. So that's what happened here. So Michael J. Fox, CNN, has revealed that they've obviously got a story ready to go for when he dies. It's dark, it's gross, and, nobody really wants to live in that world, but that's reality, and that's what happened. Some poor intern, he just clicked on the wrong story, and all of a sudden the world thinks Michael J. Fox is dead. Well, he's not. And that's good news. because Michael J. Fox isn't hated. Nobody hates Michael J. Fox, right? Especially now. Especially now, he's battling shit, but for the grace of God, right? So, we all like Michael J. Fox. So it's good to know that he's still alive. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me today and hanging out for the better part of the afternoon. Our executive producer, the great Mama B. We need tips. All right. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that, but I didn't really hear anything ring. So actually, I don't hear a ring during the show anyway, but I do. I have been noticing that I don't have any new notifications. So if you want to help this show, we are in, tomorrow's the final day. Tomorrow's the final day of this week's Pledge Week. Please don't make us have to stretch it to Monday. Please don't make us have to drop a little something. Get us over the line. Got it written down right there. Thank you to everybody who has helped us, but there is more to go. Drop a little something to help us get across. And then I'll be done with it. And then I'll just shut my mouth. I'll just be like, we'll wait another 3 weeks and then we'll get back on the horse and we'll do another Pledge Week. But we need your help. All right. So thank you so much to everybody who has. And thank you so much to everybody who just hangs out, like, follow, share, right? Help the algorithm. Comment on shit. Even if it's just like, hi, whatever, just, action helps the algorithm. So however you want to engage and help this show, that would be greatly appreciated. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on RadioMisfits.com. Love you guys. Bye.